Hi, and welcome to the Red Vent Podcast. This is episode 1, and today we have...
Daniel.
Chuka.
Gerald.
And today we are going to be discussing things in the world of gaming, amongst other random crap. But for today, the biggest topic and the thing on everybody's mind is Mass Effect Andromeda. Should we be worried? Should we be disappointed? Definitely a lot of emotions in here.
It's the game of the day.
The game of the...
That's as far as it gets.
I believe Daniel and I have both played it on the Origin or EA Access trial. I've had my chance at both the single player and a bit of the multiplayer after many, many tries.
You actually got in this time.
I actually fucking got in. Like, it took a lot, and I was, like, searching around, and everybody else had the problem. The guy's like, did I just do, like, a hard reset? And maybe you'll get in. And, like, 2 hard resets later, I no longer got, like, booted in the loading screen. But Daniel, any thoughts immediately from what you've tried? How long did you try it out for?
I've played for 3 hours, over 3 hours, because I know it tells me I have 7 hours left in my trial. While doing that, I have tried out the default male rider. I've tried out the default female rider, and I've tried out a custom female rider. I can tell you that the default male rider is the best looking out of all of them. Also best acted, because he sounds like Nolan North, even though he's not Nolan North.
So
he's a new guy.
The chain smokers.
Basically.
Yeah, chain smoker stuff.
Chain smoker rider.
Basically. The default female rider, she got some disproportionate facial features. I feel like that's the biggest thing. And it sucks too, because the model that they used for her, the female model, was actually really pretty. But in game, it's a little...
Doesn't she kind of look like Gary Coleman? Gary Coleman.
Don't say that now. I'm not going to be able to see it.
Gary Coleman gets a play.
And so that's my opinion on the
That's
female.
how he looks?
Yeah. The female, the custom one that I did, one of the faces that I used, which arguably is probably the best looking female face. It's like the bottom, if you've looked in the customization menu for the female, it's the last one. And the thing is, like, whenever I selected that one, it was so weird, because you know how when you customize your characters, it could alter the look of your father?
Yeah. So
I changed her, kept the male rider the same, and in the game, my father was black. And I'm like, we must be adopted then, because both of us are white.
Wait,
no.
how do you end up black?
I have no idea.
No, that's correct.
Okay, wait. So, I didn't actually do any of the
Happens
customizations.
more often than you think.
I didn't
Still a lot of
do
male
any of
involved.
the custom features for the rider. I just went in straight as like a default Scott chain smoker rider.
Best looking one. Oh, no, the custom male looks they're terrible.
So wait,
BioWare just they don't learn.
how before I'd be able to like adjust like the contours of their face and their bone structure. Like, how deep does the customization for your character this time? More, less, dumbed down?
It's less than Inquisition, and that doesn't make any sense because exactly Inquisition's customization had more options in my experience than this one. Like, I was able to make at least a more decent looking character in Inquisition. Although also with Inquisition, they had like that box, and you can slide the cursor around to adjust the features. Whereas this is a straight bar, like a typical character creation.
Because Inquisition's like character customization was pretty good. Like,
way better than this one.
I don't know if you I showed you guys before. You remember David, my roommate. I made a character in that game that looked identical to him, like a 30-year-old version of David. And I literally rolled like a dice to determine like, what class he would be and what race and all that. So then he was an elf 2-handed warrior, which was kind of weird because this is really scrawny dude holding like this giant sword around. It didn't work out. He became a reaver too. Still made no sense.
Yeah, troll.
But yeah, it was hilarious, and I did it to just annoy him. But to hear the customization going down is
yeah. I mean, that's just with a lot of things with this game. I don't understand. You go from Inquisition 2014?
Yeah.
No, 2015.
2014.
It was
2014?
2014.
Okay, so Inquisition, a 2014 game. So what's that? 3 years ago now. Like, motion capture better than Andromeda.
Boy.
Came out on 360.
Yeah, animations better than Andromeda. Dialogue just as cheesy as Andromeda, but that's a BioWare game. Like,
Wait.
No, like the writing in this is a lot stranger.
there's some really cringe moments. I was watching some clips of stuff later on in the game, and like Liam Costa can get a little cringeworthy.
Everyone's just like angry at him for existing. Isn't it Liam Costa?
Yeah.
Costa, yeah.
Sorry, my Portuguese came out in that last name. But yeah, they kind of reverted back with Andromeda, and it's weird. It's disappointing because this is this is a Mass Effect game.
Just quickly around the room, how many of us have experience with the Mass Effect series?
Or
I
any
played the
Bioware
whole
game.
trilogy, and I played Origins, Dragon Age.
So I've played if we're including Dragon Age, I've played every Dragon Age game multiple times, and I've played through each Mass Effect once.
So Mass Effect is one of my, if not, it's in my top 2 favorite game series of all time.
Wow.
To watch it get done like this, and I will argue to my death that Mass Effect 3's ending is justified, but that's for a different day.
What?
You're gonna die soon then.
That's for
short life.
That's for a different day, but this game just doesn't do the series justice, and I don't know whether it's because it's a different Bioware than what the trilogy was. I don't want to put the blame on that because these are talented developers.
Yeah,
they're a developer for a reason. They're like employed by Bioware for a reason, and they did Inquisition, which ran really well. So you said like earlier today that if this game was delayed till October, it would be perfect. And I mean,
it would be
agree.
perfect, but it would be better.
Compared to what it is now, it'd be a lot better.
Not necessarily.
I agree 100%. And well, I guess just to kind of wrap up what I was saying and let you go on, is this game really reminds us that delaying a game is a good thing. I mean, if you look at what Naughty Dog has said about both The Last of Us and Uncharted 4, is both those games would not have gotten their 10 rating if they came out the 2 months that they're like prior in which their original release date was announced. So
I just want to say that like this reminds me a lot of when Dragon Age 2 came out, because after playing Dragon Age Origins, and it was like the start of a new IP, and I love that type of setting, like a fantasy RPG.
That's a legendary game.
Origins. Yeah, it is, and I was like, I'm like, okay, I'm in like this IP, this series. I'm gonna buy the comics. I'm gonna get the figures. I'm so in, and I played through the first game probably like every possible origin story you could do. I played to completion, which I think is like 6.
Wow.
So I played through the game 6 times, and then I was all in the hype about Dragon Age 2, and then it came out, and it was like, why are you only in one city for the whole time? And when you go outside of the city, it's like you're in the same areas. It's just sort of like this area is blocked off instead of another area. So it's not like this company has like gold every time. Like something happened there when they released Dragon Age 2, and they definitely rectified it with an Inquisition. But that's my question, is like, what happened here?
Well, that's what Chico was
saying. I've been, upon reading some of the reviews and taking the stuff in, I've had a few sort of like tinfoil kind of, what's happening here? One, apparently, I totally forgot about this. It's a different BioWare. It's not Edmonton. It's not the A-Team. It's
Montreal.
It's Montreal. Recent being, like maybe 3 or 4 years ago, Montreal just became a dev city. Like everyone just like, all right, like there's WB Montreal. There's Ubisoft Montreal. Well, they've always been there.
Shout out to Ubisoft.
No, fuck Ubisoft.
Yeah.
No.
If you want to know more about Ubisoft, check out our podcast 0.
Yeah. So WB
may not exist.
Yeah, you may or may not unearth that. But yeah, WB Montreal, Bioware Montreal. There's a few other Montreal studios. I think who Deus Ex dudes? Eidos Montreal, yeah, like they start to really expand, but yeah, it's like that's one of the reasons why like there's even a freaking Bioware Montreal. But then the next question is, when was this game developed, and are we looking at a Destiny style? Oh shit, this thing's on fire. We need to do it again midway through.
Is this one Montreal, or was
the
trilogy Montreal?
The trilogy is Edmonton. Edmonton's the main dudes.
Okay.
So
continue. I was confused on that part.
If I could go on that whole Destiny thing, I was talking earlier with Truk about that, and like how Destiny, like I could admittedly say that there was a good amount of time where I loved that game and I played it like religiously.
I still do.
But that you still do.
Not play it, but I still love that game.
Well, the thing is, like, it kind of like
other things came out and took me away from it.
Oh yeah, I could say that. Like my interest eventually waned away from it, and like I got tired of it. It naturally happens, especially being like a filthy console gamer. Like,
yeah.
you have the attention span of like a squirrel, and like, whenever something new and shiny pops out, it's like, oh man.
Oh, but
that.
Please tell me what you really feel, Jesse. Fuck, man.
Okay,
So
so
console gamers here. I mean, we're just dissing ourselves.
I know, right?
Look, you guys, just listening for this.
Wait, you guys don't play PC, right?
I own one and I've dabbled in it and I don't like it.
If so, I need to know that I'm in the presence of one of the master race.
Anyway, going on with
demigod.
that. The thing about Destiny was at the beginning it was a bit shaky and people were a little weird about it. It was still, considerably good and the potential to be something great. Anytime like a problem arised or say the community started dwindling down, they came with an expansion and they improved the games in a lot of ways, especially when the Taken King came around. It was like almost a big refresh for a lot of people in the series and it brought back a lot, a big part of the audience. We're not going to get that with Mass Effect.
Nope.
What you see is what you get. There may be a patch or something for the animations, and knowing the fact that it's not a day one thing is a fact that they probably didn't consider it to be an issue.
Even though when they showed that gameplay trailer at E3, and it was that scene where Ryder took the gun away from that. Was it a Krogan or I think it was a.
I remember she takes like a Predator pistol off.
I think it was a Krogan, yeah. And then they're in a standoff basically, and everyone was like, "Yo, this doesn't really like her animations look off."
They even tweeted about it, right?
And BioWare was like, "Don't worry, like we know that we're gonna fix it." And they even said, "We will continue to fix this game. And we will polish it until you pry it from our cold dead hands." That was, and I'm loosely paraphrasing because I remember that exact phrase, and it comes out. And not only is that specific scene not fixed, but the entire game is just littered with all that.
I mean, we're almost getting like, okay, like I'm not saying that disliking this game is justified, but the fact that so many people are behind disliking it, and
it's not so much that we're just feeding into the hype.
Well, no, like it's
like
almost
there
very
are good aspects of the game. There were some things that I enjoyed.
Yeah, of course. There are aspects that I did enjoy, and like it makes me remember that this is a great Mass Effect game, but then. Like I want it to be good,
mm-hmm.
And I'm considerably like a big Mass Effect fan amongst all of us who have played the game, but like never have you ever gotten a game like in the sci-fi world where like it just continuously expands and like you are exploring more of a world in the future that like I felt that there were more things to explore in terms of world building and things being put onto me in Mass Effect 1 than Andromeda.
Mm-hmm.
And we currently are in the Milky Way, and it's something that exists, but of course it's introducing to the world of Mass Effects with Spectres, the N7s, and, the Citadel and, like, the Council, and the humans trying to get up, like, a seat on there. But then, in Andromeda, it's, the whole Pioneer thing where, like, you and your friends go and shoot up everybody so then you and your friends can have somewhere to live.
Yeah.
It just seems more empty, and the fact that there's only, 2 species there that are interactable and intelligent versus our 5, they're 5 on the Council? There's a human, Asari, not Krogan, Solarian, Turian, and
something. It's like a couple Krogans.
No, on the council. No.
Not on the council.
On the council, there was the human, the Asari, the Solarian, the Turian, and I'm pretty sure that was it.
Does it? Yeah. Well, again, the humans are the newest ones on there,
mm-hmm.
And you go to this place, and then it was what are they called? The Angala or Angara?
I don't know. I was basically jotting some notes down because I wanted to come back to it and mention how. Some of the main criticisms I've heard from this game is the fact that there are only 2 new species introduced.
And to pull another Prothean thing where it's like, oh yeah, there was another ancient civilization here.
Exactly.
There always is.
Yeah, so they're just repeating the original game. There's always layouts. And another thing is that there's a lot of empty planets.
And like recycled assets, and, like stupid.
And I'm talking
side
like
mission.
Mad Max empty planets.
But that's back to Gerald's point though. The narrative is fitting that. It's coming back around. It's like Sonic Cycle style, where it's like, oh no, this is looking. Ugh. Why are these assets being reused? Is this a rush job? That's actually a big question. Is this a rush job?
Speaking of reused assets, you go ahead first.
I actually have a question about that because, so, if I'm to understand, I'm the only one here that hasn't played Andromeda. Right?
I haven't played Andromeda yet,
oh, okay.
And I don't think I will.
Okay.
I'm playing it at this rate.
So for the two of you, since maybe I haven't really followed too much of Andromeda, like throughout the whole the hype train and all that stuff. And maybe I can ask you a few questions to sort of filter in why you guys haven't really. This hasn't like wowed you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, because you're kind of like you're explaining in a very vague sense why this isn't. So, one of my questions would be is, what's the main gripe you have? Is it, first of all, is the single player as bad as the multiplayer, or so? Which one did you find had the most problems?
Okay, well, initially I wanted to play multiplayer because of my experience with 3. Unlike Daniel, who again not adores, but he respects the ending. I kind of had a lot of gripes with it, and the only way that I kind of was came to terms with it is community fan things like the indoctrination theory.
I am a huge believer of that.
I love that theory.
I'm a huge believer.
That was sad.
But the thing is,
it's so
the fact
awesome,
that the fans had to write the end of BioWare's games. Yeah.
And it's a better. Sorry.
Yeah.
I still love that theory.
The thing is, of all the Mass Effect games, 1 and 2 and 3, I've played 1 and 2 multiple times over to try different classes and different styles and choose Paragon or Renegade. And Mass Effect 3 I only played once.
Yeah, same.
And the way that sated my thirst for playing more of this world was multiplayer. And I made some friends on Xbox that way, through the multiplayer beta. And my girlfriend and I love playing that one as well because it's a very it's a cool stylized horde mode kind of thing.
Yeah, and I had fun with it.
And by the end of it, there was 77 characters you could play as. It was ridiculous.
Really?
And they even had an entire section of these elite Earth guys, the N7, other N7s, and they all fit into a soldier class. Or there was my girlfriend's favorite one was the N7 Fury. So she was an adept, but the thing is she had an experimental biotic implant that caused her to have this aura that primed everybody around her within a certain field. And then she would just use other abilities to just trigger it, and then she just blew everyone up around her. And again, yeah, it was really cool, adding that in, and, I still appreciated it more. And the one issue that, they made me really upset was that, every time I tried to play a game on the multiplayer one in Andromeda, during the trial, of course, was I'd find a game, I'd load in, it would load up, and then right when it got to the 99% when it was going to load in, it would say that I just got disconnected. And then, again, tried over and over again, as I mentioned. And eventually got in. And, it's fine. It's more of the same thing. The combat seems alright. It might be because I haven't played a...
To defend you, though, because you could easily be attacked here by saying, oh, it's just your internet and all that,
Yeah, no, I struggle, I handle all the network in the house. And, my NAT type is open. I have no issues with any other games loading up. I got so angry I just turned it off and played Overwatch for half an hour and didn't have an issue with that. But again, some advice that I found on a forum, just recommended hard resetting a couple times and then eventually it got through. But I shouldn't have to do that to play a game.
That sounds barbaric.
Yeah, so
N64 days.
Exactly.
Restart
Well, the cartridge.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
But then in the what's it called? My main gripe with the story was just
The single player.
The single player, yeah. The writing. I mean, the animation is was something I was hoping I could look past, but it's almost taking the veil, not the veil, but moving the curtain or breaking the shattering glass,
Shattering the illusion.
Yeah, it's you can't help but look at that.
Yeah,
and I almost didn't want to know that, but even if I didn't know that, you would notice it almost immediately. And it feels stiff. It feels like they haven't gone anywhere since Mass Effect 1 in terms of how the motion capture is, and the dialogue has changed now. And then when they said oh yeah, we got rid of the Paragon and Renegade thing because that was very much a Shepard thing. I'm like, okay, cool. Well, what do we have this time? You're either optimistic or a realist,
which is the same thing.
Which is almost the same thing. And the thing is, your words carry such little weight. They probably set up a couple things that's of course scripted that will affect things certain on or unlock different dialogue things on how you handled it. But again, there are moments in the original trilogy where you have to make these big decisions, and I can't imagine making bigger decisions than trying to find a home for an entire galaxy.
That's good.
And you have such a huge weight on you, but the things you decide in this are so menial and boring.
No, and you're right. I mean, that was one of my points too, was the whole pessimist versus optimist point of the dialogue. That's exactly what it comes off as. You know that the left side choices are always optimistic, the right side choices are always pessimistic. And that's the same problem we had with the whole Paragon and Renegade.
Blue, red.
Exactly. And that's the argument with Infamous, is if I'm going to make the decision once, that's clearly the character archetype that I want to go down. Why am I going to keep having to make the same decision over and over again?
But games that, just to interject, games that have that sort of system rarely vary. You're either playing as a good guy the whole time or a bad guy.
But that's my point, is the options are there, but like if I'm the type of person that likes the witty comments, I'm literally always going to hit left on that analog stick to choose that dialogue option, because I know I'll get the witty, optimistic comment.
Hey, remember in like the other Mass Effect games of the Paragon and Renegade, and sometimes even in the Fallout series, if you have a high enough stat in a certain category that you can see there's a decision to make. It's like, but you're not either like you have to be either Paragon high enough, their points have to be high enough, or your Renegade points have to be high enough.
Yeah.
Or your charisma. Like your game doesn't have that, and then those decisions are really cool because you could convince Saren to kill himself in Mass Effect 1.
He still came back and fought you, but I mean,
it was still cool.
Exactly,
it was really cool. Like you could just fucking do that. Like you could just disarm an entire situation with your words.
Yeah. No, and that's literally the weight of your character showing through the dialogue, and this game doesn't have that. Another thing that really you're asking what the main issue for me is, and it actually is animation. Mind you, animations is one of the main reasons, other than Zelda, as to why I returned Horizons, because there was something off about the lip sync for me, and it was bothering me in a game.
In Horizon?
Yeah, in a game that has this hyper realism, in a game that like looks so realistic, and then the lip sync is off for certain characters. And it's not like, for Aloy it was fine, the main character, but in other main characters I'm interacting with and that I have to continue interacting with for the purpose of story, and their dialogue is always off in terms of like their lip movement, that was a really big turnoff for me. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to put it down until they fix it, then I'll come back to it. Yeah. And then Zelda took over, but that's a different thing.
It's got like Russian lip sync or something.
Yeah. And the animations in this game are so bad, and it's what Jesse was saying, where he thought you can overlook it eventually. You literally can't, because every 2 minutes you're in a dialogue scenario and you're watching these terrible animations, and I can't understate how bad they are. We don't have video for this yet, but there are so many videos I want to watch, and not just the popular ones that are going around right now, but like other ones that are further in the game with conversation. They are really bad. And even in the dialogues, when you're having these conversations with people, not only are the animations bad, but there's terrible texture pop-ins too.
Still, really?
Really bad. Like the new alien,
Angara?
Yeah, the pink dude.
Pink dude?
The one that joins your team. I don't know his name.
Spoilers, maybe?
No, it starts with J.
Something.
There was a specific cutscene I was looking at, or not cutscene, but dialogue option, where the entire left side of his face was one shade of pink, because it just didn't pop in until halfway through that dialogue scene.
That was a problem in Mass Effect 1.
And that's
10 years ago.
Still in there.
On a different engine.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, these are huge things.
No.
So that actually leads me into a question. It's to just to like continue asking you questions about the sort of the same thing. So the things you pointed out are things that they could possibly fix, with
but how much can they fix these animations? I mean, that's the point where...
Well, that's what I'm getting at. What things did you find in particular, like the story? They can't patch out the story.
No,
they can't patch out the combat.
The story, aside from it being a rehash of the original trilogy with like a new species that is a primitive species, apparently the story is pretty decent.
Yeah, I mean, like it sets up for something so good, like
because this is a new start of a trilogy. You have to keep in mind that the Ryder twins will probably be...
The question is, but is it though?
Well,
do we know that for sure?
After what's going on now, they might give a soft reboot.
I don't think they confirmed that, because...
I thought they said going forward they're going to do like individual vignettes, if you will.
Rogue One style, this is this, move on.
Okay,
because
well then that's a better thing then, because I don't want to stick with these Ryder twins.
Earlier on, Gerald was talking about Dragon Age and how it was really self-contained and they did all this stuff. Dragon Age 2 specifically. Yeah. And the thing is, it kind of came out of left field on people, and like there were people that either hated it and some people enjoyed it, and then there's a very large crowd who enjoyed it. It is actually still reviewed pretty well in like the 80s on Metacritic, I guess.
Yeah. Dragon Age 2?
Yeah, 2.
Nope.
No?
Listen to that.
Weird.
Yeah.
When it came out, it was around an 8, I would say.
It was like 70 something, I remember.
Dan, do you mind looking that up?
I have the Mass Effect Andromeda.
I'm gonna keep talking.
Ready.
Anyway, so the thing about Dragon Age 2 is that it is what it is, as it is, right? But like it stuck to what it was going to do, and it followed through.
That's true.
That is true.
That
is
true.
Again, I kind of got put off by it because when I first bought it for 360, someone I hadn't talked to on like for the longest time on Xbox, or someone I went to high school with, they messaged me like, "Hey, why don't you take that trash out of your disc and break, or your disc tray and break it? I'm like, what the
Yo,
fuck?
chill.
Okay, update on this Dragon Age 2.
It's got an 82%.
PC is 82, 360 was 79, and PS3 is 82.
Okay, so it's in the good realm of
User
the-
score 4.5.
Yeah,
I mean, that's Metacritic. Metacritic user score is like just to get in a trash can at some point.
Unless you're... no, that's Rotten Tomatoes.
The thing,
Never mind.
the thing I was
Unless
making
you're
the
bad,
point
you're bad.
with Dragon Age 2 is that it stuck with what it was doing and it was consistent throughout. The thing about Andromeda that's been bothering me is that it's really inconsistent. You have this great setup, and then instead of, building on that great setup, it kind of just throws you into this menial task of fetch quests and data pad finding, and like it's huge empty world.
Apparently, there's a lot of fetch quests in this game.
Yeah, like they
do that specifically to fill worlds. To add.
But
fetch
question
quests.
though, is it a good setup or a good premise? Because a setup would be like they started off with like a good setup is like, I don't know, okay, Metal Gear Solid Rising, you kill Metal Gear in 3 minutes in Metal Gear Solid Rising or Metal Gear Rising.
That's a platinum game. Though.
No. But here's the thing. But that's the setup. The setup is that you're Raiden. You're like, okay, I'm good, and then it starts out on such a high note. It's like, where does it go from here? Whereas Andromeda seems like they're completely different things. But Andromeda seems like the premise is cool. The premise is like, or this takes place after the original sort of Shepard trilogy, and this is them having to forge a new path. So I was kind of expecting it to be like maybe kind of a cowboy frontier style.
cool.
Yeah, stuff like it's like sort of cowboy sci-fi where they're still like in the boonies kind of, where it's like, I don't know, not like a general store with swinging doors, but like something like that. Callback.
Actually, I know why now.
Oh, really? Okay, we'll get into that in a bit.
But something that took advantage of the fact that they were free from the original Mass Effect trilogy, because that they've already established their bars. You don't have to really establish new aliens or anything like that. But they could just make us. I think maybe if they made a smaller game that was a little more intimate and wasn't like, oh, we'll get the data pad. How do you like the data pad?
But yeah, it is a smaller game, because in Mass Effect trilogy with Shepard, you use the relays to travel around the whole Milky Way, and this time you're just in the Helix cluster looking through golden planets. But the thing is, the setup of I guess your Ryder taking up the mantle of your father's position.
One more thing, it's a terrible name.
Which one?
Ryder. That's not a good name.
What's with the Y, man?
That's even worse. That's about even worse. If it was just Ryder, then I respect it more.
So as Ryder, you find yourself thrust into this new position, and then you get even more responsibility put on you because of the situation at hand. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I want to trail into the areas of spoiler territory, but it's right now.
I think it's pretty self-explanatory what happens, though.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of get into
Daddy's in one trailer, Daddy's not in another trailer.
Okay,
something happened.
Yeah. But yeah, going on from that, it's just it's cool that you you find yourself in a new strange set of a new position with a strange amount of responsibility and power. And then you're not doing anything really important.
One thing that I take away from this game, and this will probably be the final thing I say on it so that we can move on to a different topic, is the fact that, and I know the odds of this being completely untrue are extremely high, but it's just something that I take away from the game, is it feels like, again, Montreal did this one, right?
Yes.
Montreal took advantage of the fact that they could make Mass Effect their own thing, aside from what Edmonton did with the trilogy. I mean, that's why we have a lot of even though there's only 2 new alien species, the rest of them are all the same from the original trilogy, except none of them are from the original trilogy. So they can make their own, they can forge their own identities within the character archetypes that have already been established. And I feel like this is just Montreal wanting to put their stamp on it and be like, this is our Mass Effect as opposed to the trilogy. That's why it's such a departure from form for it. And even with the dialogue, the dialogue is even very stuttered too. Like when you're talking to someone, it's like it's very stop and go dialogue. It's weird. Also, I feel like in the original trilogy, Shepard had his own agency. He would say certain things without you having to give like a specific dialogue sway towards it. In this game, the writers do not have a mind of their own. You say everything that they say, and it can get really annoying too, because it's like there's some things where for the purpose of plot and story, they can say it themselves to drive it in a specific section and not have to be the class clown in every situation. Because to me, that's what these writers come off as, is the class clown or the class douche.
It's funny because like Sarah Ryder, I've noticed, has this weird cold dead look in her eye.
It's very scary.
It's actually really scary.
Have you seen the clip where they arrive to that like citadel looking thing, and then the captain? Did you play that far in the story?
Oh yeah, I got there.
And then like the captain on the ship's like, "We're here. I did my job. Now the rest is on you." And Ryder's just like, her face is like, "The fuck is
face is."
What's this bitch talking about?
That's
That's literally her face, and I
responsible.
laugh every time I see it. She's just like, fucking crazy.
Okay, so wait, the one thing we never got into, sorry, Gerald, but the one thing we never got into, and before we move on, because it's such a big part of this, is the RPG elements of this, and like, do you feel like it's like watered down, or how you taking on the fact that everything is open to you?
Oh, it's what I sent the message to Chuka. I was like, "Oh, Chuka, it's your favorite type. You know, less RPG, more shooter."
That shit
because
I
was just talking
oh
about how he enjoyed more aspects of 1
Yeah.
and 2 because it was more of an RPG than a shooter.
Yeah.
3 made it more of a shooter than RPG. This just kind of eliminates the RPG aspect from it.
See, Mass Effect 1 felt like a spiritual successor to KOTOR.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah, 100%,
and then
100%.
I love that. I don't know. I don't understand the complaints about 1. I thought 1 was amazing, and then when I picked up 2 after liking 1 so much, I was like, where are they going with this? Like it's like they're slowly trying to get rid of the fact that it's an RPG, action RPG.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I really felt like with everything open to you that like, and not having a class per se, your decisions carried like what you put points into like mattered less.
Yeah, I kind of didn't like that. I agree. Like the one thing I liked about Mass Effect, not the one thing I liked about Mass Effect 1, the original, but I did like this. Like if you're an adept, stay in your lane. That's it.
Yeah.
And you have to using your squad mates and commanding them mattered more because it was like synergistic. It was like synergistic, and like if you were like set up, okay, there you go over there, and you had to actually make good use of like positioning them in specific cover based things, so they would take more damage and they would do different things that would. It felt like an RPG that you were controlling, and Mass Effect 2. I still love Mass Effect 2, and arguably has a better story. Arguably.
The Human Reaper thing was great.
Yeah, but it's like, and like the weird metal Terminator baby at the end. I know some people were like, "Oh, that's a weird design," but I thought it was good.
I felt like it would go on more than 3, but who cares?
Yeah.
Well, to cap this, I just wanted to, because you guys didn't really get too much into it. Yeah, you were just talking about the RPG elements, but how did the combat feel? Because the way I can sort of relate is when it came down to it, I was able to accept Dragon Age 2's flaws. And I still enjoyed it for what it was. Would you be able to do that with Andromeda, being that level of a fan of Mass Effect as I was?
Andromeda's combat, in my opinion, is almost too loose. Like it doesn't fit the game. How do you feel, Jesse?
Man alive.
Like it's nice that it's nice that it's loose and smooth, but it doesn't fit the Mass Effect archetype.
Okay, so it almost became like Halo.
Oh my god, yeah.
The
It's
thing
like a
is,
third-person Halo.
It's like a third-person Halo because
that sounds terrible.
I was telling you earlier
That's my
that
worst nightmare. Like,
my controller, my Elite controller now is set up identical to how I play Halo because B is dash, A is jump, and I like when I took it like thinking more of it as Halo, it kind of made it easier, mobility wise, but the shooting was still weird. I feel like you have to play it more. Like they want you to play more and more of the game, so you have more mods and unlocks, so then your guns feel more comfortable.
No, that's not what I want from Mass Effect. I want more agency on interaction. Like that's one of the great things about Mass Effect 1. There's a lot of talking, but yeah, there's a lot of talking in Mass Effect 1. But I like that it was really sort of. If you're not into that, it could be really dry. But the level of depth in the original Mass Effect games, sort of, kind of going like a reverse funnel, admittedly. Of just finding out all the shit, talking to all these people and getting that raw lore, like that felt the conversational system was really, really good and honestly way ahead of its time.
The codex entries, I would just fucking listen to them.
Yeah.
Like because whoever did the voice for that, I fucking love that guy.
Yeah,
And then in the Codex entries in the Mass
original
Effect trilogy,
On the original one?
Mass Effect
you know that he'd go on as like,
Yeah.
oh, the Turians' first
Yeah.
contact war with the humans occurred at this time. This led to a rocky relationship. And
Yeah,
like, it was
he kind of
so,
he kind of sounded like a cowboy that was like on Ambien, and I can fuck with that.
very like Bastionist.
it was
kind
awesome.
of narrator.
Yeah,
I think Mass Effect, when it comes to all that, like just world building and like its lore and stuff, it's one of the biggest sci-fi franchises
ever made. It's quite unlike anything.
and
It's
it's
strange to
just
think
so
that
much
Andromeda's
fun
featured
to enjoy that RPG wise,
Yeah.
like explore and everything. Like, how many sci-fi RPGs are there that we can really sink our teeth into? It's really up to Cyberpunk 2077.
Do you know what this feels like to me? And I don't want to.
2077.
Yeah.
27.
That's when it's coming.
Someone
out.
out there.
That's the release date.
We don't know much about that. We don't know much about that. One thing Mass Effect feels like to me, or at least Andromeda, is it kind of falls in line, in my opinion, with the whole Devil May Cry argument, where you have the original trilogy and then you have the new one. And you could be a fan of the new one,
That's
or you
not
can
an
be
argument.
No. The argument comes in when the new one came out. Everyone was upset that like this isn't the old, like the same thing that we're hearing with Mass Effect.
Yeah.
This isn't the old trilogy. This isn't the Dante that I like. Who is this
What the
punk
hell?
kid?
And
Who
And, like-
liked the new one better? Like, no one.
No one.
And I remember when it
better, but
first
the new
came
one-
out, I
yeah.
enjoyed the new one a lot.
It was
I
good.
played it.
And then I
was
went
fine,
back and
yeah.
I played the original Devil May Cry, and I'm like, okay, well, this can't be beat. And that's what I'm saying. This is where Andromeda falls in line, where it's you can appreciate the fact that they want to do something new and stuff, but there can be fans of Andromeda that didn't like 1 to 3.
Yeah.
It's possible that happened. None of them are in this room,
Yeah.
but it is possible. That's why I mean it could be the whole Devil May Cry argument.
Do you think they're trying to appeal to a more casual crowd?
Yeah, exactly. That's why I was saying with Montreal putting their stamp on it.
It's terrible.
And I feel like this is Montreal saying that this is our Mass Effect. Expect stuff like this now. And that's
Could
what
EA
happened with,
behind that.
that's what
Behind that?
happened.
Like,
No, but that's what happened with Devil May Cry.
But Devil May Cry is a little different because I mean,
it still had its like,
Devil May Cry it's still fun to play.
and it could be very difficult as well.
Yeah, exactly.
They also tried to do that, or did successfully do that with Gears of War 4. They're
Yeah.
like, this is our Gears trilogy.
Yeah.
But they did it successfully.
Gears 4 didn't feel the same.
I
I guess I'm just a
but
traditionalist.
no, but Gears 4. I mean, Gears 4 got closer to 3 and 2 than I sound like Mass Effect Andromeda was like way off the mark.
Yeah.
It feels way off the
Like-
mark.
I mean, if you're going to make something that far, then why even call it Mass Effect at that point? It's like, it should be like a Halo Wars or something. It should
Ass Effect.
it should be
I'll buy that.
it should be marketed as a different brand of game. Like
But-
Halo Wars is a
Well,
RTS.
I think
In fairness,
what they're
I
trying
think
to
the
do.
Andromeda subtitle is kind of like
That's the whole
Rogue One
point.
thing. I
Because
think
think of it this way: the
yeah.
Milky Way, whichever way you want to look at it, the Milky Way is technically destroyed with like the Reapers coming through.
even after they
I'm not even sure
Even if they were synthesized,
when this game
defeated,
takes place.
it takes place. What?
it's 600 years into the future.
It's
So-
not between
But
2
they
and 3.
leave sometime in between 2 and 3.
Yeah.
Either way,
It's 600 years
either way,
after
3
2.
takes place a
Yeah.
couple years after 2.
Yeah.
So either way, these are after the events of 3, but just 600 years in a different galaxy.
Okay.
But what I'm trying to say is, whichever way you want to slice this cake,
I like cake.
whichever way you want to look at it, the Milky Way is technically destroyed. Whether they destroyed the Reapers, they synthesized, or they controlled with them, they devastated the Milky Way. So any future Mass Effect game is most likely going to take place in Andromeda, which is why I feel this one was subheaded Andromeda, to kind of be the forefront of it, because they can't go back to the Milky Way. at this
It's
point.
gonna. It seems like
not
they're-
unless they do a prequel, which would be really cool.
Oh god.
I think that would have been a smarter choice.
I think that would be cool.
prequels.
No,
I
but
hate
think
them.
the only reason the reason it would be cool is because you're getting the interaction with the aliens. Think of it when the humans first discovered the relay, and remember it shot their what's the word? Their I guess technology like a couple hundred years into the future.
The technical singularity. Yeah.
Yeah, like when the humans first found the relay and they learned all the technology from it and all that knowledge, it
On
shot
Mars, right?
them. Sorry.
And Mars, right?
Yeah, I think it was on Mars. It shot them forward a couple hundred years in terms of like development.
Make up after the church.
Yeah.
So think of
Yeah.
it.
I know.
So think of it like, what if they were to go back to that and like see the first few times that the humans are being introduced to these species?
You know what? No.
Imagine seeing a Solarian for the first time.
Taking that back.
no. It'll be really cool. Daniel, I'm not fine with that. But it'll be really cool. The fact that you're not an N7 in this was kind of cool. Like, if there was a game
Technically,
about...
our Pathfinders is a different way of saying it.
No, but they never took the test.
You took your dad's armor.
Yeah, if that's what it takes.
That's-
That's like.
Spoilers.
That means the dude from Assassin's
The
Creed
game's
4
like,
is
Yeah, I was
an
gonna say
assassin.
that.
But yeah, it's if there was a game where
Oh,
you
Ubisoft.
worked your way up to be an N7,
Hey.
and like that'd be pretty cool.
You like Assassin's Creed.
I do. 4 was my
Stop
favorite.
bashing it.
It's like, shut up.
Anyway, moving on past
We've had a
the
lot
Mass
of
Effect
depressing
Andromeda.
talk for Mass Effect. Overall, before we leave it,
Oh God.
there were some good aspects of it. And I'm not getting into it. Just really short. There were some good aspects.
I
Of
mean,
it
it wouldn't
that
be
I
inconsistent if some of it wasn't good.
Exactly.
I know. They're consistently bad from terrible to
But
worse.
would you ever play it? Not right now. Let's say it never got patched. Would you ever play it?
I'd play it for the multiplayer.
Okay. Would you ever play it, Chuka?
Give me that sweet $25. That sweet $25 price point.
A BioWare fan, you loved Dragon Age, you were okay with the original Mass Effect series. If this game, let's say they just patched the animations, nothing else was fixed. And patching the animations is a big if, because I don't even know if they can do that per patch.
That's a lot of work.
See, what the biggest
That's
hurdle
like a
for
10
me?
gig patch.
The biggest hurdle for me would be, I mean, okay, they have story that is interesting. That was never a problem for me. The gameplay is what I think they just went too far
Yeah, I miss RPG days.
away from
Yeah.
RPGs. That I honestly,
BioWare
I'll
used to
pick this
be-
up at a severely discounted
Yeah,
price.
BioWare used to be synonymous with RPG.
I mean, they
Like,
are-
Because it's Mass Effect, I'll pick it up eventually. I'll say that.
They've left my safety zone in terms of developers.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think, and
I'm worried about Dragon Age 4 now.
I hate to bring it up again, but I'm hoping if it's one thing that Breath of the Wild does,
Breath of the Wild.
is that a lot of people who they're not like
I need to ban Breath of the Wild.
that'd be a great
Moving
band
topic.
name. That'd be like a probably like a mathcore band. But
No, I'm
like,
saying we need to stop
we need
talking
to-
about
no,
this
I'm
band.
saying though, I'm saying the critical and commercial success of Breath of the Wild hopefully like emboldens people to like, hey, we can do this. We can make games where we don't have to hold your hand. Like people are smart enough. Like they need to start
Yeah.
giving people more agency and more like respect in terms of like people. If something is good, people will come to it. Like yeah, like Dark Souls. If it's good, people. How the saying go? If you build it, they will come.
Yeah,
That will be shit.
What
But
was it?
Field of Dreams.
Field
Something with
Dreams.
Kevin Costner, right?
Field of
Field
Dreams.
Dreams.
That
How
will
many
be
baseball
shit.
movies has Kevin Costner been in?
I don't know. Kevin Costner.
Waterworld?
Waterworld is an allegory for a
Technically-
baseball movie.
Yes, exactly.
It is an allegory for a baseball movie. But
Just like how every movie this year is a Civil War.
every movie is Civil War. But if I feel like
You guys watch Arrive yet?
no,
Arrival?
I haven't.
We'll
I'm
get to
trying.
that.
I
That'll
need
be
to
in the
see
future.
it.
We'll-
I've been trying to see it for
future.
3 months.
Yeah, that movie's great.
Yeah.
Waiting on that Netflix.
I know,
We
but
should
maybe
talk about
Finish
it
your
when
point,
they're in the room.
Chuka, so
But-
we can move on.
I hope EA looks at this and
EA's not going to do shit.
it's true.
EA looks at the dollar. They're not going to do shit. It's
But-
BioWare.
Like more people are less scared to. I don't want to say. I don't want to put like people who are as hardcore into like one of the buzz like oh filthy casuals, but like if you have an idea and you have to curtail it to the point that it's hurting your game, like the point that people or the fans of your game are like, what the this is not what I want. All in the what it looks like to be the attempt to make it more palatable to a broader spectrum of gamers. That's all you get is mush. You don't get anything specific that draws people in. You just get like this interesting mush that you better hope someone picks up on a discount, like Fuse or like-
Evolve.
oh
It's
yeah,
not free.
No,
like,
it's free right now.
now free. That's what's up with gold. Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Remember
basically-
4 versus 1s?
4 versus 1's golden age.
Remember that 3 months that,
Four-
that
four-
was popular?
That 4 versus 1 is like I don't even know. That's like that moment in time when Crabcore was a thing.
I'm still waiting on Fable Legends.
Well, I guess
Rest in peace.
my final thought on Mass Effect would be, yeah, if let's say they only fixed the animation to a certain degree, yeah, I would.
They're not doing that.
They're not going to. They, I don't think they can. But
That's
let's
a lot
just
of work,
hypothetical.
honestly.
25 gig patch.
Yeah, Game of the Year. It's a completely different game.
They patched the ending when everyone complained.
Game of the
so-
year.
They just added in cutscene though.
Mass
Yeah.
Effect Andromeda Game of the Year. It's just
One
Mass
gig.
Effect 1 remastered.
Hypothetically,
And still
I
was not
probably would in the future pick it up, even if they put it down to like I say 40 is a good safety net for me to pay.
You know what I can do with $40?
Mind you, again we're in Canada.
You know how many
40
burrito- you know
40
how
is $40.
You know how many
It's
burritos
half price.
$40 is?
Yeah,
Two!
that's a lot.
2 burritos!
Oh, some good burritos though.
I mean,
But like I guess I don't know. I mean, because I don't want to sound hypocritical. I only played the game for 3 hours, but I've watched extensive like gameplay further from the point that I played because I was just too lazy to do it myself, and I've seen how it goes, and it doesn't get better in terms of animation, in terms of dialogue. I didn't even get to talk about the terrible menu UI. Where it's bad.
Oh yeah, I see some of that.
No Nomad minimap.
It's bad, and it just.
But you guys don't use it in Breath of the Wild, so you don't need it.
Nah,
Yeah,
Pro HUD gang.
But like, I don't know. I don't want to
That's
say
a whole topic.
it might like I've heard from a lot of people playing it that it does get better, but the things that turn me off right away and are a huge turn off are the animations, and that doesn't look like it gets any better.
Yeah, that's what they send the IGN review.
Yeah, so I mean, it'll always be there, and if it is, then there's probably.
Yeah.
I just gotta say, it's
Yeah,
called
it's not
user interface for a reason. That's how you interface with it.
You know how I interface with them? I read the map.
Exactly.
Thank you, Chuka.
I read the
Pro
map.
HUD.
Pro HUD gang.
Oh my god.
No.
For the Pro HUD game.
You're whatever.
Fun fact.
It's
We
like,
wanted to name the podcast something to do with Pro HUD. We couldn't know. The sad day.
you know what's funny is Binding by Isaac has an extra HUD mode where you can add even more to HUD to it.
Oh,
I
Jesus.
like HUD on my HUD.
That was
I
a
want
main-
like
that was a main
Halo
issue.
5 level of HUD. No,
Oh,
Titanfall 2 level of HUD.
Yeah,
with the
Titanfall
scoreboard
2.
on.
I mean, Titanfall 2 is HUD with game attached.
Try playing a 90s PC game. Half the screen is a HUD.
I know HUD is everywhere. It's
So
like
that was my
Deus
main
Ex.
issue with Horizon was the HUD was too ugly, but
It was
you can
ugly,
you can
yes, it
customize
is.
that thankfully. But anyways, moving on to something new.
Oh yeah, so with Paladins now on PS4 and Xbox One with their founder packs for $14.99, which is a free-to-play game on PC.
Mhm.
Funny
And
fact: if you rearrange the letters of Paladins, it spells Overwatch.
apparently it does. When it first came out, it was strictly on PC. Of course, this is
I'm like,
the
what?
this is the game done by Hi-Rez, so people did Smite and some other games.
Oh,
I think.
that's
Yeah, that's where they're from.
Yeah.
They did get a lot of flack in the beginning, where they were very much there was like almost like an Overwatch clone.
Yeah.
But the fact that it was a free to play made it kind of more accessible to people, and they did get a base off of that. So instead of paying the 60, 70, or even 90 in Canada to play Overwatch,
Canadian life.
yeah, right. A lot of people turned to this, and the thing is, like, it does have a lot of differences in terms of that against Overwatch. But there are a lot of like undeniable like similarities that kind of force this is Overwatch.
So, if I could just jump in quickly before you guys start talking about it, because I, of all of us, is the one that plays, what do you call them, team shooters?
Team-based.
Team-based shooters?
A
or
Team Fortress.
character
Descendants.
I was
shooters?
gonna just say Team Fortress.
Yeah, Team
Yeah.
Fortress. Team Fortress.
The
4.
least. I picked up Overwatch and played it for a weekend, and I had fun with it, but ultimately, it just wasn't my cup of tea, so I was like, and then I got rid of it. But I briefly saw something on Paladins, and it's like, this might be my type, like for my entry into this genre of games, because its theme, if I'm not mistaken, is fantasy, right?
Yeah, it is very much fantasy.
That's your sweet spot. So
Yeah, that if something's themed that way, and I could be like an elf mage, and I'm like fighting against like, I don't know, whatever the other classes are, then yeah, I'm all in. Like I'll roll with it and see how it goes. So, if I could ask just for me and maybe the audience to get one of you give a summary of what Paladins is all about.
Jesse, please, yeah, because I know a little bit about it, but I'm not as experienced with this whole thing as you are.
So yeah, I was very much looking into it, and I follow one YouTuber by the name of Rain Day who plays a lot of Smite, and I love his videos. He does like really good breakdowns for heroes shout outs for Rain Day, for gods, and I don't play much outside of like hunters and warriors in Smite, but he does do like very good recap for that, and he does cover a lot of paladin stuff as well. This is beta phase stuff from I guess more than a year ago, because Paladins was in production before, or it was out at least before Overwatch, so it had a great deal of time already out there. But again, it's really hard. It's almost facing the same area as Battleborn did against Overwatch.
If I may draw one conclusion, now depending on how old you are, this recalls yet another feud. The year was 1999.
Oh god,
Here we go.
The year was 1999.
SpongeBob has just aired.
So, yeah, SpongeBob was he was Moss, and he hadn't blown up yet.
What was Pilot is out?
And a movie starring one Ben Stiller came out called Mystery Men. Mystery Men actually had in its theming its theme song was All-Star by Smash Mouth. Now, as we all know, Smash Mouth All-Star is associated with Shrek. But...
It is?
Yes,
Yeah,
it is. Mystery Men was there first, and it does not get the credit. I just want to say that.
I immediately think of Mystery Men when I hear Smash Mouth.
Yeah, see, and that's credit too.
I think it was Shrek.
Most people don't
Really?
even know what Mystery Men
I
is.
don't know what Mystery Man is.
It's not a good movie. I'll say that. It's pretty terrible.
Youngins.
But still, credit where credit's due.
Hey, Pee Wee Herman's in that movie, man.
So, I kind of think a child diddler.
Anyway, going back on the topic of what Paladins is. That's for mystery, man. I love these tangents.
That had nothing to do with it, but anyway.
So what you're saying is that Paladins was essentially like an alpha before Overwatch was shown?
It was.
Is that what you're saying?
I mean, the game was
I don't know a lot about the
technically
history of
out
Paladins.
before Overwatch.
Yeah.
Really? It's been out that long?
Yeah, it's been out that long. And the thing is, people, I've seen some videos defending. Like, I was actually heavily considered buying it on like the founder pack on Xbox because I'm like, I just wanted a new game to try out.
So who ripped off who then? Because there are characters that are literally identical.
Everyone ripped off Team Fortress ultimately.
Yeah, to be honest, at the end of it, you just copied Team Fortress.
Yeah, everybody.
But yeah, it's really hard, especially if you've played Overwatch and it is considered the more popular one. So there are obviously heroes and champions that are just pretty much almost identical. There's like a guy with a hook with a shotgun. There's someone with like a freeze gun.
There's a Tracer clone.
Yeah, there's like someone who flies in the air and shoots rockets.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
There's a Torbjorn-esque character.
And there's a character literally that's just Torbjorn. It's like a short dwarf guy with red armor and puts up turrets.
He's from Norway. It's
Really?
Sweden.
He does the same thing?
He's from Denmark, though.
Is he really?
I don't know.
That can't be a coincidence, then.
Like it's
That's the whole point.
It's the whole point.
Like,
Like
issue.
Why am I just hearing about this game recently? Did it just
because
come out on console?
it's coming to console now.
Oh,
so-
okay. Because
No,
I didn't even hear about it.
Back on PC, like everything's a clone of one thing or another. So I mean, you look at that Steam library.
Survival games for days.
Just watch a Jimquisition video and you'll.
So survival days. Yeah, I mean, if
Gold Simulator was supposed to be a joke, people.
Yeah.
I know.
I'll just put that out there.
And then Paladins is another like objective-based team shooter.
Oh, yeah.
There's the
Team
whole thing with like
competition
the capture the points and the payload in.
Mhm.
Notably, there's mounts at the beginning, so you can run really fast to like objectives,
Oh,
which is kind of cool.
that's cool.
Apparently, a lot of people said that when it first was out and people were playing it, even back in the beta days, that it was very much its own game. And it did stand out against Overwatch, but as time went on, it came more and more closer to what Overwatch is. And now people, like, it's kind of hard to break free of that and, gain an audience. But again, with the free-to-play model or the really super cheap model of $14.99 Canadian on the Xbox and PlayStation Store.
That's a cheap game.
That's a cheap game, and you get some interesting, stuff. There's even loot boxes.
It's kind of like
$90
Warframe.
games, or do you want a 50?
I don't want to call it like discount Overwatch or poor man's Overwatch, but
Kmart Overwatch.
Yeah, right.
You have to pay $14.99 for it?
I don't know.
At this point, I think it's kind of like what's this called?
It's not free to play though on console.
Yeah, Paragon. Paragon had a Founders Pack, and I think for a while the only way to
Paragon's
get
Founder Pack was $79. The same price as
Really?
No, I got it for $20.
No, it was cheaper when it first.
Yeah, when it first came out. Now if you walk into
but that was the only way to get it after.
I was actually excited for Paragon, and then it just played Smite.
It's like, oh, okay, kind of like Evolve or something.
That's a question that I want to ask. Feeding off of what you just said right there.
Huh?
This has nothing to do with Paragon or Overwatch, though, so I hope it's okay.
Oh, go.
You just said you wanted to play Paragon, but then you just went and played Smite instead. Does it speak to something of games, I don't want to say being better, but giving off a better appeal when they're not designed to look realistic?
I mean,
take Zelda, for example. Like, we're always going back to this freaking Breath of the Wild
the
game.
thing about
Right now.
MOBAs,
But,
is
I mean,
that-
like, with Smite, it's cartoonish, the graphics and everything, whereas Paragon, they tried to go realistic and stuff.
realistic stuff.
But does the
I know, realistic dude with rocket arms.
Gorilla Shield Man.
I mean, like, in terms of graphical quality, does the cartoonish aspect of a game say something to how fun it is? Because I'm enjoying the hell out of Breath of the Wild, and it is a beautiful game. And then you put it up against something like, there's other, like The Witcher, Horizon, Mass
I don't know.
Effect.
I haven't played
There's
Paragon.
That's a good point.
like, there's something about the art style that makes me want to play it more.
You saying, does it affect the enjoyment of it?
Yeah, the perception, the experience.
Are you more willing to
Perception-
enjoy a game Or is it more accessible to you, or more inviting because of its art style?
Because I mean, like, it's reminding you that this is a game, whereas you play something like let's go to the order. Let's use the order. Let's use the order for an example. That 4-hour movie.
Actually, before you go on to that, with the difference between me playing Paragon and Smite is that like there, besides other MOBAs like Smite, LoL, Dota, and all that other stuff,
Smite's fundamentally different though.
Smite is fundamentally different, and that's why it's set so much closer to Paragon.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to try it out and see if it was good, but I didn't like how the item system worked. The visuals weren't like something that drew me in, and it doesn't really draw me into Smite either. It's just when you boil it down, almost every single MOBA has closely resembling metas. Yeah. So it's more or less you pick your poison kind of thing, and you just stick with it. Mm-hmm. I'd say very rarely do you find people who like play like, oh yeah, I play LoL, Dota, Smite, and Paragon.
You know what they're kind of like? MOBAs are kind of like burritos. Yeah. I mean, they're similar in format in a way, but only some people will put noodles in your burrito. Shout out to Fat Bastard. Only some people will do that. So that's why you only frequent Fat Bastard. Why? Just say only really play Smite if you had a choice, and I only play Overwatch.
I forget that people don't put noodles in.
But just asking the...
I've always wanted to try Fat Bastard.
Asking the panel here, does the graphical quality of a game, or the art... Not graphical quality, the art style, does that affect how you feel about a game?
100% yes. I personally think the Wind Waker is, 14 years old? The Wind Waker will forever look pretty.
Yeah, of course.
For forever. I can't... What else came out that year in 2003?
No. Someone put this argument before about how both, say, Super Mario Galaxy 2 and Uncharted, I'd say 4, this is a very hard thing to imagine now, but those games are both amazing looking in their own respect, but Super Mario Galaxy 2 will look the same and be considered to look well into the future, and Uncharted will kind of fall behind in terms of like
the uncanny.
It'll be a while though.
It'll be a while, but it'll eventually hit that point.
Yeah,
less realistic games age better.
Well, that's the argument I make.
They do.
That's the argument I make with. I know a lot of people. Some people here have different beliefs on Borderlands, but that's the argument that I make with Borderlands. Is there are people that come in to the store and they want a good co-op shooter game, and I always first when I go to is Borderlands 2, and they'll take one look at the case and in the back of it the art, and they'll say they don't want to play it because it looks weird.
It's a kiddie game.
Yeah, they say it looks weird, and I'm like, you need to understand that if Borderlands had any other art style than what it has now, it wouldn't fit what the game is trying to get across.
The thing
if it tried to be realistic, it just wouldn't work.
Fun fact, Borderlands. It was realistic. And I was following Borderlands way, way, way behind.
I remember that Game Informer. Where they were showing off what Borderlands was going to look like when it came out.
Boom! So I was following Borderlands in 2008, 2007, or something like that. When they first showed the first trailer, it was way more serious. The dude named Mordecai, not the dude with the weird ass drunk bird or whatever. But it was way more serious, and they're like, fuck it. This dude has 9 balls or whatever, and so that's what we have now. But I think I get frustrated when people say, "Oh, well, this looks like a kiddie game," because I mean, at some point, I guess I see why I see why Mass Effect Andromeda is becoming a straight up shooter, because people are like, it's a kiddie game. In an attempt to appeal to broader audiences, we have sometimes games that tend to drop stuff like cell shading and sort of more cartoonish art styles. Like Fuse actually used to look a lot like Overwatch.
Fuse.
And now it's whatever that thing is. So it's not exactly surprising, but I'll take a 2D game like the recently released Night in the Woods, if anyone's checked that out.
I heard that game's really good.
That game is really good and really hits close to home, and it doesn't lose anything for our stuff. Anything, our stuff makes it more appealing because.
You think it'll end up on the Switch?
Honestly, if it on the Switch, I'd buy it again. I would buy it again. I would okay. Hopefully, it will. It can handle it.
Wait, what game?
Night in the Woods. It's like
What's it about?
It's like you're a cat. It's all anthropomorphic. Shout out to furries. You're a cat, and you come back from college after dropping out, and basically you return to this city that takes place in the American Rust Belt. So there's a lot of stuff like jobs leaving and factories being shut down, people getting downsized, and the fact that town isn't growing. So a lot of real salient things happening in modern, American sort of Western culture.
But everyone's
BoJackman kind of.
Yeah. Except there's no humans. There's definitely no humans. Not like
Okay.
where BoJack is like, yeah, BoJack is actually really, really good. Yeah, it's a lot like BoJack. Where BoJack, oh, it's Cartoon House. No,
BoJack is awesome.
no. This is a show really about like personality disorders. So yeah, that's what Night in the Woods, and I think its art style, much like BoJack, by juxtaposing the two, it makes it a stronger artistic vision. And
So what's the genre of this game?
it's an adventure game, but it's also a light platformer.
You said it's coming to Switch?
It's
no, I
not.
said, what would you do
If it came to Switch, I said I'd buy it again. You
Yeah.
can get it on PS4 and PC.
I don't know. The indie support on Switch is something I really like.
Yeah, I'm loving it 'cause I love indies.
Indies.
Nindies. Nintendo always has to be freaking cute with everything, but still,
Is it really what they're calling it?
Nindies.
Yeah.
Nindies.
Oh.
They even had a you know, the Humble Bundle back in the Wii U days. They had like a Nindy bundle or something.
No,
Shovel Knight in it?
No.
Probably not.
Really? Shovel Knight was for this first came out of the Wii U.
Shovel Knight can stand on its own.
Yeah,
It's like the most successful indie game.
but yeah, I mean the game also like Owlboy came out last year, a beautiful pixel art looking game, and that game, if I come back to it in 10 years, will look just as good. Whereas if I'm playing like Shadow Complex. Oh god, knives! Oh, knives! What's the shit? But like, Shadow Complex was a game I really, really liked last generation. If you look at it now, it's kind of ugly.
Yeah, I tried playing it because I got it for free.
I
with
played the game
my,
like 5 times.
like backward compatible thing on there.
Yeah.
I even tried like the old VidMaster achievements for it as well.
Oh man.
My god. Like,
Yeah.
I remember I used to know that game like the back of my hand.
Yeah, like, oh, I know the two can break this. Instead of getting the rocks up there, I just foam, go up
Yeah.
there, get stuff. I'm like, I don't want to play this.
So
anymore.
it was the part of the 2.5D.
Yeah,
I hate
2.5D
Metroidvania.
Metroidvania revival. Oh, it's a really good Metroidvania, but I just
Speaking
don't
of
want to play it.
Metroidvania, I think I saw it today. That's the 20th anniversary of Symphony of the Night.
It is. It is the
That's
20th
a
anniversary.
legend
That's a really good
right
Metroidvania.
there.
You know, Shadow Complex makes me feel that they should make a Metroid that actually feels like a Metroidvania.
They're never ever doing that again. You want a Metroid? Buy Freedom Force.
I
Metroid is never coming back. I've given up hope on that.
Like,
There's not going to be a Metroid.
don't know if any of you like the Prime series, but I just didn't.
Prime is legendary. Prime is
That's
God
just
tier.
not what
It's
I don't know.
innate.
I just
Yeah,
didn't,
it's
couldn't
Prime.
get into it.
It's
It's
really
Prime.
It's awesome. It's awesome, but I get what you're saying.
But there's so many games that are
Metroidvania.
like yeah, from like what Metroid set up, and then I love those games. I love Metroidvania.
Oh, and play Ori in the Blind Forest?
No,
Yeah.
but I was really, really, really
Awesome.
good. I was waiting for it to come
I
to
beat it
PS4,
twice.
But yeah.
Yeah.
But it's never going to PS4. I know that. But
And Song of the Deep wasn't that bad either.
yeah, some people. The thing, Metroidvanias are like pizza. Even when they're bad, they're still pretty good.
Song of the Deep was a decent game. It's just we
I
got like it was kind of like saturating the market for us with that game.
Oh,
I mean,
the main issue I had with that game was
Reveal
that
that.
the main issue I had with
No,
Borderlands,
no,
the
no.
pre-sequel,
Uh,
it never stopped the damn physics of. It just reminded me of it.
Wait, you
It's
didn't
something
like
I'm-
Song of the Deep?
I liked it for a bit, and then like the whole submarine mechanics and physics just got
the
annoying.
narrator pissed me off.
Oh, yeah.
Searching
Much
for
like
my
I don't like
father.
the pre-sequel. I know it's
Every
like
5 minutes.
a different studio and everything, but
I would say
it's-
for a $20 game, it was decent.
Oh yeah, no. Don't get me wrong.
Metroidvanias are
Just
interesting.
gave me flashbacks of fucking pre-sequel.
Because Super Metroid is kind of like
So this is our tangent section of the
but
podcast, just
yeah.
letting you know.
I'm just going off around. So, back to my original question.
yeah,
So
art styles.
So they are like they do something. Do they make it better for you?
They make it because I mean, throw a rock. How many realistic looking shooters or whatever? I mean, like how many times can I see the cover of scratched, bald headed white dude with kind of blood but
Condemned,
gone?
I saw.
Yeah, on Call of Duty cover. That does nothing. What did that evoke? All that evokes is to me is like the Iraq War was a mistake. Like it doesn't evoke anything to me. But like when I see Breath of the Wild cover, that what is that? But if I look at
It's like a
for you at home,
pastel.
yeah, for you at home, I'm actually looking at the Breath of the Wild cover, and it looks beautiful. It evokes so many things. What is he looking at? Is that the scale of the world?
It's like an oil
Yeah, it's
painting.
It looks like truly.
art.
Yeah, it evokes a lot of things. And then you play the game, the art style's similar, but you know, if I'm looking at a
It
game,
does still fall into the trope of blue and yellow,
yeah,
but it's still
But it looks
in a
dope.
very good way.
yeah. Or if I look at I don't know, I'm not gonna use a sport game because what the hell? What else are you gonna do with a sport cover? Like that's not quite fair. But yeah, or even Battlefield Hardline, where it's that weird dude.
Yeah.
Battlefield Hardline dude is like aiming a gun and it's all orange. What did that do for me? And I play the game and it's like, oh, well, it looks like Battlefield. Okay, that's fine.
That game gave me motion sickness because you have to scan so much stuff.
Yeah, you have to.
And like,
you have to arrest
zooms
people.
in and out, and like I just got sick playing in Hardline.
Did you answer Daniel's question?
Yeah, no, I'm comparing them.
Yeah,
I'm just
no,
saying,
he's
like,
saying it's good.
it evokes certain things that make me interested. Where there are so many realistic looking games, you have to really do something artistically that makes me interested. Like Horizon has a fucking dope aesthetic, like Neolithic but post-future, but also cyber. Post apocalypse. That's
the feel I get.
Yeah, that Horizon.
Like at the end of the Time Machine.
Yeah.
But see, now, along with this question, you bring it up Horizon, and it goes back to what I said earlier in the podcast, where the game looks that realistic, but then there's lip sync issues. Does the art style, does that not, I guess, excuse, like, hiccups in the game, or does it make it look better? Like, if there's an issue in the game, for example, you look at Breath of the Wild, Zelda's talking, those lips aren't matching the words, but it's the art style.
Japanese, that's why.
I know.
Okay, but you get what I'm trying to say. Is it's the art style that allows stuff like that to get by. But if you have a realistic game and there's little things where the eye, like Mass Effect, Andromeda, the eyes are just dead.
I feel like
they're just dead stare. Whenever they're talking to them, there's no emotion or anything. But the game tries to look beautiful and realistic. The realistic setting and the realistic graphics, they highlight the issues more than a game that takes a more artistic approach.
I mean, it's the Uncanny Valley.
Yeah, the Uncanny Valley thing. But at the same time, it's with that, it's your level of immersion in that game. If it's ever broken, i.e. lip syncing or just bad animation,
snaps.
It breaks you free, and you get the whole Uncanny Valley thing. But it's even if it's like Breath of the Wild has a very not cartoony, but like it has a very anime,
very anime
esque,
yeah,
setting, or even like I don't know, what's another game that has
Overwatch.
Yeah, Overwatch.
Overwatch.
Overwatch has a very cartoony look.
It's a straight up Saturday
but
morning
it's
cartoon.
still very immersive. Like you can be those characters and you understand going into it all like everything that it is. But once say if in not Overwatch in Breath of the Wild, I don't know, like. It's kind of hard. I really like that game. I can't knock it down and
I'm like, you better skate light. What are you talking about?
But okay, the main point I'm making is that as long as the game can maintain its sense of immersion, then it will remain. It will keep your interest.
Yeah.
See, were you finished?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay. See, I would have to disagree with you there because I feel that. I can say something that's probably a bit controversial, but I actually feel that The Witcher 3
here we go.
is more immersive than Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. And I think Breath of the Wild is a much more
it's giving Chuka spasms over
much
there.
Much more fantastic game than Witcher 3. Actually, I'm not even a huge fan of The Witcher 3. I think it's a good game.
We're going now. Okay.
I think it's a good.
All right.
Hey, I'm trying to transition smoothly here.
Gloves are coming off now. Witcher 3, let's go.
Okay, so
who's on the defending panel of The Witcher 3 game? It can't be just me. I need backup here. Yeah. Okay.
I want to.
So Jesse and I.
Okay.
Siding with the fact that The Witcher was a good game.
Game of the year.
I can't say it. I'm not saying it's a bad game. So
that's true. He's not saying that.
And I don't know who's saying that here.
No, that's your unpopular opinion.
Okay,
so not that good of a game.
We're gonna start their first ever.
Don't backstep. You're on the podcast now.
You just keep going.
Yeah. He's going.
I'm trying to introduce the segment.
He's winding the back. He's preparing himself.
I'm starting the first ever segment of Unpopular Opinion.
Okay. So
my unpopular opinion is obviously that Witcher 3's overhyped, and I want to start by saying I think Witcher 3 is a good game, and the positive things I have to say about it are, first of all, the world and the immersion. The I don't know if you could call it. Okay, it's immersive is the best way I could describe it.
100%.
But because when I'm playing that game, I feel like I'm. It's like the closest I've come to feeling like I'm on the holodeck of Star Trek, and I've like gone to. Well, I haven't
Well,
played.
you're a big fantasy guy, so yeah.
Yeah,
Is
so
it
going
up
there, I could wander the fields of Witcher 3 or go through a city, and I'll actually feel like I've been transported to a fantasy world, and that feels amazing to me.
Yeah, the detail in that game, it's unreal.
And I that's something I just never. Although I don't want to knock Zelda, but that's something I didn't feel in Zelda. I feel like I'm watching it from a different perspective.
See, I
disagree
disagree with you on that, actually.
I actually find Zelda to be. I put like 40 hours of this game in The Witcher before I would think. I feel like Zelda is far more immersive to me than The Witcher. The reason being, I mean, The Witcher is immersive in its own way, but Zelda's immersive in another way, where it's more about Zelda's sort of reverence for nature is unlike any game I've played. Like, how it perceives the world, and like you'll have a field it's just an empty field. That's it. Which is something I really liked about Shadow of the Colossus, where it understands less is more. You evoke more without it being busy. You see, like for example, in Zelda, one of the stables is near a river bend, near those two peaks, and I think in terms of a space that feels very natural to me. The rivers go straight down into the dueling peaks. One time I was riding my horse and it was raining, and I got into the peaks and then the rain understandably got muffled and started falling just on the water, whereas I was covered by the two. That felt very immersive to me. I actually once spent like 40 minutes getting down that straight river. I went all the way to the top, got a boat, and just floated down the river for 40 minutes. Because
Because you can.
But
no,
go back to
not the Croc.
Well, no, because I want to say something quickly.
But
when
just
it's finished.
I feel not. I don't think The Witcher is more immersive than Zelda. I just think there are different levels of immersion that do different things.
For me, what it came down to, and something that I was thinking about today, and I was wondering if it would be actually worth saying or not on the podcast tonight, and it's the fact that with Zelda, whenever I play this game, and he's saying, Chuga's saying the level of immersion is different. With Zelda, I feel like the world goes on without me being there.
Yeah.
And it's living, and it's breathing, and it's doing its own thing. Mm-hmm. With The Witcher, and this is coming from me, like, the biggest Witcher fan in this room, arguably. Like, I love this game to death, and The Witcher being. But, like, whenever I got into a new section of The Witcher, it felt like that section just kickstarted as soon as I got there, and everything came to life. But with Zelda, when I walk into a stable, or I go into an open field, and there's horses roaming around, I genuinely get the feeling as I'm playing that when I was across the map, they were still moving and doing their own thing here.
You didn't feel that with The Witcher?
Well, even that
depends on when I walked into a city with The Witcher. No, I didn't. I feel like everything was jump started right then and there when I walked into a city. It just the character, like it's not. It has nothing to do with the. It has to do with the animations and certain things in The Witcher with the characters, like the pop-ins and everything.
Yeah.
With Zelda, I don't get that feeling.
Well,
yeah, there's pop-in. Exactly, and that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
It's just different levels of immersion.
Right. The NPCs have their own schedule in like Legend of Zelda.
Yeah, that's what I feel like. Yeah, exactly.
They straight up
they do. There's a specific thing that'll only happen at certain times of the night. So, I just that's
like
just my level of immersion.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
Like a merchant only showing up between these hours, or the
certain quests, or
if it rains, that people go inside.
Yeah, if it rains,
creatures. Do you notice people running in the rain in Witcher?
They go
when it's raining outside and there's a thunderstorm, you see people running through the fields.
Yeah, that's cool.
Just things like that. Like in Zelda, the fact that you got only 4 sparks on your armor before you're dead. Like when I did the island trial yesterday, and
wait. Do not spoil that.
This isn't spoiling anything.
We're not talking about Breath of the Wild.
No.
Oh, what are we talking about?
I'm about to say something about the weather.
Okay.
I was doing the island trial, and I was about to finish.
Okay.
And
wait, what? I'm just kidding.
Shut up. And I was about to finish.
Nice.
And this is a trial where, like, if you die, you have to backtrack.
That's how trials work.
Yeah. And I was about to finish after a lengthy trial, and it started raining, and I was like, oh, what are the odds? I'm on the last section. And then I wasn't paying attention, and my armor sparked 4 times, or my sword sparked 4 times, and I caught it on the 4th time. And you bet your ass I pushed that pause button as fast as possible to take that sword off. Because one more, and I would have been dead. And I would have had to redo everything. I would have got struck by lightning. So it's just that level of immersion. It feels realistic in that sense.
It rains way too much in Breath of the Wild.
There's a blood moon way too often in Breath of the Wild.
I don't find that. I find that it rains too much. Like, I'm trying to climb a thing, and
Yeah, you're sliding back.
I'm
The
like,
secret
oh,
is
come
climb 3 times and then jump.
Yep.
3 and then jump. That's how you make the most progress. Without
Really?
wasting too much stamina.
Even when it's raining?
Yeah, when it's raining.
You know that I have the climbing set, and you still slip. I was hoping that maybe that would like. Not.
That was its
No,
special
that's just
ability?
it's just
What's-
climb fast.
Yeah,
What's
it
the,
was
what's the
consistent.
Zora armor special
Wait,
ability?
okay, now we're getting.
Yeah, yeah, we gotta
No,
stop talking.
Let's get back
Fine.
to The Witcher.
What were you saying
You
about
can
the
speak
immersion?
fish.
Yeah.
You're Aquaman.
Shut up. Okay, well, I mean, I'm not arguing that Zelda, if Zelda is immersive or not. Like, I feel
Well,
it's such a weird argument. But
Away from Zelda, we're going back to The
Okay.
Witcher though. We use that.
The
Just
Witcher
as
3
example.
just gave me a sense that I can't remember feeling that in any other game, and that it comes to the topic we had previously, but about realism. Like, I think it's because Zelda is more of a stylized graphic style that I don't get that level where I feel almost like I've transported to a new world. Where like Witcher 3 does that so well for me.
So your immersion's like more practical, if anything.
Yeah.
Whereas, like it is being realistically displayed.
In this one particular instance, yes. I mean, I don't want to. I mean,
Yeah,
I
you
guess
don't
what,
wanna
I guess
get
what you're
off,
trying to
but,
say is
yeah.
Witcher, you feel like you're being transported to another world, whereas Zelda, you feel like you're being transported on an adventure. That's the way I would put it.
yeah.
But I definitely feel like I'm going on an adventure when I'm playing Breath
I
of the
still
Wild.
feel like I'm going on to a very extensive adventure that I don't know where I'm going with Breath of the Wild. Like, it's so much fun to explore. It's more exploration, whereas Witcher's like you
more
could just
learning.
I could do nothing in The Witcher and I'll still, in a sense, enjoy it because it's just sort of like
So then, why is it an unpopular opinion for you that it's not that? It
so
shouldn't be that critically acclaimed.
hold on, I'm trying to get past my positives first.
Okay.
So
The knives are
It's a
cheap.
steady climb.
what's my other positive?
Exactly.
Like
What
the
is
people
it?
way would react to Geralt depending on how you
Oh, yeah.
played.
No, I remember what my other positive.
Ugh. That's
The
good. Sorry,
no, Geralt's one of the negatives. He is the most bland character.
but that's the point.
In
The
fairness,
mutagen. Hold on.
that's contextual.
Hold on. Exactly. The
That is
mutagens
contextual.
strip the Witcher of all
I
emotions,
don't-
which is why Witcher 3 is so special.
I don't misunderstand why he's like that. It's just as a character, like that's like a cop out. We can make our character bland
No,
because
see, but I think you're missing the point with Witcher 3 specifically is the fact that the mutagens stripped him of all emotions, yet why does he feel so compelled to save Ciri?
like Anakin loves Padme.
Oh, God.
The point is if he doesn't have the
The
point is
freakles.
if he doesn't
You're not
have
supposed to.
no, but the point is if
follow
he doesn't
along.
have any emotions, he has love for Ciri because she is his
Or,
surrogate daughter.
Yeah,
I mean, from
and-
my point of view, the Jedi.
There you go. So,
What would have you
but that's the
Jedi
point. Is
role?
that's the point
I mean,
of Witcher 3? Is you're
Witchers
saying-
are just medieval Jedi.
no,
right?
yeah.
They
but
kind of are.
But that's the point with
Definitely are.
with you saying he's a bland character. Witcher 3 challenges that, and it shows why he's not a bland character because he's reacting different to situations as opposed to what other witches would do because of this person in his life. Which means
Actually,
the
when you-
mutagens didn't strip him of all emotion.
I would argue that the witches you meet in the game have more life in them than Geralt does. They don't talk like him.
Letho,
Well, I never met him.
Lambert, Lambert
Yeah.
who want the bitch slap the entire game. Shut the
Yeah.
fuck up, Lambert.
He had a personality. He was a dick.
Lambert was he was a crying baby.
Geralt was a nothing. So the creatures is what my other positive was. The
Oh, yeah,
creature design in Witcher is stellar. Like every character, every demon or spirit, whatever you fight in that is so well done, and it made it enjoying to find out more about each one and their sort of lore. Like you can go into that where you could see all
Yeah,
the
the
companions.
They weren't just
monster.
another creature; they were alive and had
There was
tendencies.
a monster companion.
There weren't just like like a generic goblin.
Beat it to
whatever.
death.
Everything we fought in there had a backstory to
It
it,
had a weakness too,
and
a
they
specific weakness.
they were very unique. Yeah.
If you went to the monster compendium, you can see what sign worked well against it, and what potion and bomb worked well against it.
Just so we don't confuse the issue, I am with Gerald on the negative side, and I'm just going to cut right into that. Okay,
Yeah,
so the
let's
combat.
get to the negatives because we need to
Combat-
have the debate here.
Okay. So
That is garbage.
No, I will argue that the combat's actually really good.
Okay, you gotta let them talk though.
I know. Okay, I'll
The
write my notes.
combat. Okay, here's the thing about
You're right.
combat.
Your notes comes up on the mic.
2015 was an interesting year for combat in different spaces, or just like engaging with enemy design or enemy AI or anything like that. If you want to put it, you had Bloodborne, which I mean, I'm not gonna.
That's not.
I'm not
Bloodborne
gonna,
is
Bloodborne.
holy. Let's leave it at that.
Praise be to Bloodborne.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Bloodborne, which did combat in obviously the Souls direction, but actually took a lot from Castlevania in terms of how you combated and taking risks and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Then you had The Witcher, which was, that came out that year.
2015.
So I'll say about that. And you had Metal Gear Solid 5. And, like, in their different spaces, and obviously deliver in a lot of contention for a lot of people, different games of the year, they handled combat differently. Although I'll say, for two of those games, I really enjoyed their combat, and one of those games, it was a slug. And I think that was The Witcher. Especially before they started patching the PS4 version. Lord, every time you cut into a dude, like, the frame would just be like, oh, I forgot my line. I'm just going to throw up here. Like, it would get up, I'm like, oh, why? Okay, fine. And it's kind of
would pause for you. Are you sure you
yeah,
want to do that?
It's kind of a shame, too, because...
You're literally cutting through the code.
Yeah. It's like... This
PS4 is bad
I mean,
Witcher frames.
Because, like, it was a shame because if you cut a dude in half, no, they got straight up cut in half. Like, which is visceral and cool in its own way, but it just felt kind of not stilted, but it felt very unelegant for a game that, you know, the way you use your swords and have to parry, it seemed at odds with the projected personality of the combat, which is supposed to be actually kind of elegant. But it felt kind of sloppy.
What negatives do you have towards the combat?
It wasn't... Okay, so I agree what he said. I feel like, although the combat's my lowest negative, but, okay, so the combat in Witcher 3 feels like it was supposed to be more, like you were saying, sophisticated. Like there was supposed to be more to it, but when it comes down to it, it was very basic.
Yeah, very basic.
Like you could just tap a button,
yeah.
and like I'll give you an example. Like there's a power where you can like shove people, and I got to a point where I would just go in and do that, and then just stab them. And if I can do that's a design flaw.
Yeah, see, but what difficulty are you playing on? Because I played, not to toot my own horn, I platinumed the game.
You're going to do it anyway.
I'm going to do it anyways.
You shouldn't have to put a game
to
a higher difficulty for it to be fun.
That's not what I'm saying. I did play it on the hardest difficulty, and it was really fun. But what I'm saying is, the combat is actually more skillful than you realize. Because it's not just hitting the same button over and over again. You can, aside from using art and pushing someone over and stabbing them, you can eliminate enemies in a whole multitude of ways. On the hardest difficulty, my favorite thing to do, I put a lot of skill points into Axie, because I would mind control them and have them fight for me.
I did that as well.
Thus Jedi.
Exactly. So there was that. There's other, like, every single sign has a use for enemies. When you're fighting a wraith, you put down
the weird symbol on the floor.
The symbol on the
floor.
floor.
I forget what that why.
It makes it like corporeal, and you can attack.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
So every single
that's pretty cool.
Every sign you can use in a certain combat situation that'll either provide benefits for you or actually negatives for you and actually benefit the other player.
Can you art a wraith and stab it on the ground?
No, you can't. Because they're see-through. You can't hit a wraith unless they're inside that little thing, that little bubble as well. And when you get into the mutagens as well, and I didn't dabble into mutagens until my last playthrough.
I did a little bit.
Really? And yeah, I actually ignored mutagens when I went
potions?
Pure,
like toxins and stuff.
I just went pure strength in my first playthrough.
Wow,
and I had a really
Jesus.
hard time going pure strength, actually.
That seems like a mistake.
When you go into mutagens and
I
everything,
didn't put a single point in strength.
When you go into mutagens, the game is so much different because you can actually, other than applying these oils that not only give you buffs, but they also make it a lot easier
on
to
the weapons.
Well, that's just rubbing oil all over his body.
They make it a lot easier.
I'm ready. Please speed up, lunch lady.
And these decoctions and oils can give you enhanced experience as well. I remember when I fought Aridin on the hardest difficulty. So let me put it to you this way: Death March, the hardest difficulty, was a breeze for me up until the final mission. And I was playing on New Game Plus as well. So not only does New Game Plus add a difficulty to the game, but I was playing on Death March, which added another difficulty to the game. The game was actually really easy for me until I hit that final mission, or the final fight with Aridin, in which I spent 3 hours fighting him. And I actually contemplated giving up the platinum because I thought it was impossible. And I looked up some things and realized that I could have gone into this mission with a couple of decoctions that would have helped me. So I was the save that I was able to load up was right before the fight. And at that point, I had whatever I had on me that I could make these decoctions, I was able to make stuff like whenever I dodged, I got a certain amount of stamina back. Whenever I countered his attack, I got health back. I was able to have those decoctions on, which didn't make the fight easier, but it made it more manageable to the point where I wasn't dying in 2 hits. So it's just a skilled combat. You just have to know what to do.
While you're getting hit.
I argue that what you're I argue that what you're pointing out is not about the combat itself. It's about what you're describing are buffs. And I played the game as mainly signs and then poisons, or what's that green one called? The skill tree.
I can't recall.
I don't remember.
It's been a while.
I didn't use that skill tree until my last playthrough.
Okay, I went signs and that.
That's mutagens.
And the only reason I did that, no, it's mutagens and poisons and oils. It's like all in one. I forget what it's specifically called, but the only reason I did that is because I find the character customization to be so shallow in Witcher that I needed to delve into that potions and poisons and stuff skills tree so that it would be a little more interesting to me.
I mean, that's
the point. That's why it's there. That's why those options are there, is because if you look at the combat system overall, and the combat, much to what you're saying, isn't just hacking with the sword. The combat is everything. Like with the potions, with the decoctions, that's all falls under the combat of the game.
I think that
and the signs.
Being part of your skill tree and being part of the combat is a fault of the game. Those things shouldn't be part of the combat. They should be in addition to
that argument can be made towards any game.
Then it becomes like a pretty bland hack.
Because other games, you'll be able to get potions and stuff as sort of like a side quest thing.
Jesse, back me up. We're the only two that have played Andromeda here. But in Andromeda, your skill points are going into things you can do in the combat. So your argument can be applied to any game, basically saying that if you remove skill trees and skill points for combat, then that you just, what Jesse was saying, you remove to the bare bones.
Well, okay, the whole idea
I'm saying specifically the potions and the oils and stuff.
But that's all part of the combat.
That's the Witcher.
You don't have to do it. You can level up your tree entirely on sword and shield, which is what I did for my first playthrough, and it was a hard playthrough.
That's not recommended.
Exactly. You can do it just
boring.
in that, or you can do it in the mutagens, the signs, or even that special skill tree as well. But you have those options. It's how you want to play.
That's what I'm complaining about.
That's why I'm saying the combat's so skillful, because it's how you interpret it and what you take from it. If you took it where you can just use art and stab someone, then that's the way you decided to play it. You decided to take that easy route.
I didn't decide. I figured out that you could do that, and that's a design flaw in the game.
I also figured out that you can get decoctions really early on in the game just by exploring, making them, which gives you super OP damage. You can unlock that whirl attack for Geralt, and you can literally walk through enemies because you're whirling and slicing their heads off.
My whole gameplay was like surrounding those potions and all that, because I heavily invested in that.
And that's the combat you chose to do.
Yeah, and I'm saying that that's a fault of the game. It shouldn't be that the way that's handled is a fault of the combat. It shouldn't be something that the game makes you invest skill points into.
So the whole idea of The Witcher is that he is a culmination of those things. He is magic, he is sword and shield, and he is potions and decoctions and toxins, whatever, right? So because anytime a Witcher approaches a situation, they prepare themselves through all means.
They encourage you to do that in the game. That's why you have the monster compendium at the push of a button.
I'm not saying you shouldn't have those things in the game.
That sounds like a lot what you're saying.
No, I'm saying you shouldn't have to invest in them the way you do. It should be something.
But then you're literally taking the RPG out of Witcher. The RPG gives you choice.
I don't think Witcher has much RPG. That's why I don't like it.
See, okay, I will say one thing. Even though I'm on Daryl's side,
I have no idea where you're going with this.
Disagree with that. I think one of the things that is undeniably good about The Witcher is the level of interaction in terms of not like, verbs, I guess, what you can actually interact with that way. But how you can interact with the story, how deep the story can go in different places, and the fact that it's up to you to find a lot of things that you can totally skip, just not even see them. I think just the amount of narrative girth, for lack of a word, is where most of their RPG sort of chops, I think, can come into the realm of almost being unquestioned. I think as an RPG, I think it is a beefy RPG, and I wouldn't classify it in the same way I'd classify Mass Effect Andromeda. I mean, I haven't played it, but from what I'm hearing, they're stripping stuff out. Or Fallout 4, game I loved, but let's be honest.
A staple of an RPG is giving the player a choice to choose how they want to level up their character. So if what you're saying is to remove that choice,
I'm not saying that at all.
But that sounds exactly like what you're saying.
I'm saying that I have a good way to explain it. Okay, so in Dragon Age Inquisition, you can. I mean, I love skill trees. I love developing my character the way I want. That's why I didn't like Witcher that much, because I didn't feel that was good.
But they gave you that option.
But I don't like the option.
So let Gerald finish.
Okay.
So in Dragon Age Inquisition, you can invest in potions aside from your skill tree if you want to. But potions, something like potions, is not fun to invest skill points into. It should be something that you do aside from the fact. Like you should be able to say,
Okay.
Witcher should be like, okay, I have a skill tree that's for this is the way I'm going to do combat, like melee. Another one's magic. Another one's like ranged attack or something. That's how a typical RPG does it. But the way the potions and everything, what?
He doesn't want to write.
Exactly. Keep going. I'm finding avenues to write down my notes.
See, the
For
way
those listening,
and
Dennis is waving his hand.
Dragon Age Inquisition.
Because I'm trying to interject.
Dragon
Before I
Age
forget what I'm gonna
Inquisition
say.
as a RPG, as a way that you develop your character, does it in such a more satisfying way, because you pick a class and then you decide how you want to develop that class. Whereas
But that's a BioWare game. That's a BioWare trope.
I would say, arguably, it could come down to
that's a lot of RPGs.
it comes down to preference in that way.
But what I want to say before I completely lose it, and we go away from potion, because it has something to do with what you're saying about the potions. You chose to do the potions. You don't have to. And if you look at that potion tree, it's not just potions. It's
I didn't just do
it-
potions.
it's how many bombs you can hold. Which, if I look at every single RPG out there, you can increase your bomb inventory slot. It's what kind of decoctions.
Not by wasting skill points, though. That's not something that should be.
What?
I leveled up.
Did you not have that in Mass Effect Andromeda? Did you not select that option? Because I know I did.
I wouldn't compare it to Andromeda as a
I'm
positive.
just using other RPGs, something that I've recently played, which was Andromeda. There are games where you can level up how much ammunition you can carry. If you want to talk about Borderlands, how many? I don't. I'm throwing stuff out there. How much ammunition you can carry per weapon type? How much grenades you can carry? Those are stuff that you level up in RPGs. You can use skill points to them. And that potion tree wasn't just potions. You looked at it. You chose to do it that way. But if you look further,
It was like a consumables tree.
it was a consumable
I didn't just
tree.
do potions.
If you what you were saying is that you heavily invested in that tree, and you felt like you feel like you shouldn't have to invest in a potions tree. It wasn't just a potions tree. Further down that tree, if you look,
I was just using potions as an umbrella term for it.
I think he's saying the whole consumables tree isn't really sexy as an RPG. Like, it's not like I don't know. Let's say I am increasing my dexterity that allows me to use specific weapons, like, I don't know, like two-handed.
Or like your strength lets you carry more stuff.
But
Yeah,
leveling up that consumable tree allowed you to use decoctions that would greatly enhance your gameplay and make things a lot easier for you the further you got down that tree.
I mean, if you included it in the main
Or
tree,
apply
that might have
poisoning
been
and stuff.
clunky.
Sorry?
If that was included into the main tree, it would get really clunky.
That's the point. That's why they had it into those separate 4 categories. Because you
That
were able
goes
to
on to
choose.
another point.
You were able to choose which ones you want to invest in, and if you are eventually going to get to the point where you didn't like how the stuff at the end of the trees were the good stuff, that's every RPG.
No.
Because I feel like that's where you were leading with. You don't like how some stuff
Like
is left till the very end of the
No,
tree.
I love that. I love skill
Because that's
trees.
every RPG, and every RPG has skill points, and you invest skill points into everything. So I just don't understand
I just think
why,
something
why
like
you find flawed about
He doesn't
flawed
like the
about
tree.
the Witcher.
I don't
games.
like that
I don't
particular
like the
tree.
tree.
It sounds like you
Straight
didn't
up.
like the skill tree, which you can point out. You can take a handful of RPGs where the skill tree is bad, but that shouldn't be your
But
main,
it shouldn't.
It should be a main like.
It just
critique
seemed
about
like
it.
that was not something that should have been a skill tree.
What?
in
What
any
was not
game.
something that should have been a skill tree?
The
A consumable.
consumables tree.
Yeah.
I mean, at some point, that comes down to hardcore preference in a lot of ways. Like,
Yeah, that's like a really like,
that one is
That's-
a
so
little
what you're saying-
a little hard.
that's
to
not
do.
even my
what you're
biggest
saying is
gripe.
you want to be able to craft every single oil, every single potion, every single decoction from the get-go, from the beginning of the game.
No, I think there should have been a way to.
it's like you
to
just
progress.
naturally get it as you progress.
No, you should. You
In
should
an
have,
RPG where you can miss literally everything.
You should be able to. You should be able to get them, and your reward for like following a set. I don't know,
Okay.
a side quest or something or it's like you know how you can cook and
Bring it up.
unlimited cooking.
It's something like that. Like you if you invest in this, like okay, how you can get armor in Witcher 3. You can get good
You're talking
armor.
about the Witcher armors, the Witcher sets.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if you invest.
you find that as a quest.
but
yeah.
it's not like something that's given to you by leveling up.
Yeah, but with every single decoction and potion and oil in the game, if you've completed that page in your inventory, that's a huge page. You're telling me you want like a little subtext in a glossary or a side quest that says, "Hey, this exists. Go out and find it." It's just what it does is it unlocks tiers in the skill tree. It just unlocks tiers that exactly. So you can still find them without doing that, but it improves them.
I guarantee you, most Witcher players did not invest in that tree because
I guarantee you that a lot of skilled Witcher players did, because there's a lot of videos on YouTube how to make an OP Geralt, and what's the tree that they invest in? The tree that allows them to increase their toxicity. Another thing that was in that tree was your level.
People that don't do that.
Another thing
that
was
the casual person that just picks it up. I guarantee. Did you do it first time?
No, I didn't do first time because then I learned that that's the better way to play.
Yeah,
because it increases your toxicity.
Right off the bat, no one's gonna choose that right away. No one's gonna look at something
but
like
if you put the time,
oils for my sword and potions that I can drink.
But that
sounds like fun.
But I've never.
No one's gonna do that.
You can ask Jesse. I've never once said that The Witcher is for a casual gamer.
Yeah,
every time someone comes up and wants to buy The Witcher, I drill them with questions before they buy that game, because it's not for the casual gamer. That goes off to me saying that the combat is really skilled.
I mean, you can enjoy it on a casual level.
Yeah, exactly. And you can get face value from it, which is what I did the first time I played it, but then I went deeper into it.
Okay, regardless of whether the person that's playing it is casual or not, I guarantee you that most of the people that are playing it like once through did not invest very much or at all.
Well, it depends on what you want to get from the game, and that's the whole point of an RPG. Is
but
it's
just without like,
Chuga's got to interject.
Again, I'm not trying to go against Gerald, but in fairness, let us not forget, even though I don't like Borderlands, I remember playing Borderlands 2 before I started, and I was like, I mean, there was a whole app that's like, hey, build your character before you even start. So you can like go through your trees and stuff, and just go like, blah. That's what I'm going to do, before the game was even out, and that's what I did with my character. So it's possible that, like, some people, and a lot of people do this, they build their character before they even ever play, like, the game. Like, they already know what they want to do. Which is a little hardcore, but I mean, they're out there. So I'll say that. I'm saying.
RPGs are individualized the way you want to level up your character.
I'm just saying,
not one
statistically.
specific. But the thing is, statistically, someone could have looked at that skill tree and been like, I really love the whole decoction and oil system, and I love the fact that I can only have a limited amount before these like mutagens are actually killing me and hurting my health. That's what the whole point of your mutagen bar was. And if you level up that tree, you can take more decoctions and more mutagens at one time, as opposed to only taking 3. Mind you, your swallow potion counted as a mutagen. So if you took that in line with other decoctions and your bar was full, you're not healing yourself. You're healing yourself, but you're poisoned, so you're still losing health.
You can even
There's a whole meta around it.
You can even get buffs for being poisoned.
Exactly, if you invest in that tree.
I did.
Exactly.
I know a lot about that tree.
So then what is your complaint about it?
I've studied the tree. I am the tree.
What is your complaint about it? Because it's an individualized experience. That's what RPG, role-playing game.
Again, it comes down to the fact that...
I can't explain this thing further than you to you.
Yeah, at some point, he does not like that tree. It is not...
So that's a personal experience.
So, I mean, I
feel like... why are you arguing that universally it should not have been there?
I think that if you were to poll people, that everyone... like, not everyone, but... a group of people that played this game to completion, and you polled them which trees did you go through? A very small
percent.
There's a very
exactly, but that's because the whole game was built around combat, like sword combat and signs.
Exactly.
The mutagen and the potions were there to enhance your gameplay. If you wanted, they weren't like holding a gun to your head saying put stuff in this. Hence why my very first playthrough, there was not one skill point in the potion.
I have something to add on that. Like one of my closest friends who equally loves The Witcher, he plays on an Xbox, and he played it on the hardest difficulty, and then he even said that like once he got into the area of like finding out builds using potions and toxicities and stuff, it became a bit different. It became a different game after that. And like that never really mattered when he played it on the easier difficulties, because it just really didn't really matter. You just needed to swallow to heal, and he just used like he pretty much abused any sign that could get him through any situation.
Exactly.
But then when he started playing on Death March mode, he's like, I can't do that anymore. I have to take advantage of the other things in this game that help me get through it, and it just happens to be the side of buffing or debuffing yourself.
Yeah, you'll need other decoctions to heal you fast enough, because Swallow will not heal you as fast as someone is hitting you, taking your life away, as opposed to easy or normal.
I had it to the point where if I drank any potion, it would heal me.
Oh shit.
Okay, so
that's like
you broke the game, but in a way that you found, like in a way that it allowed you to. Yeah. You're not breaking the game where the developers are like, "You got me." The same argument with Zelda.
It's built into the tree.
That's the point. You found that way to exploit it in a way where it was legal within the bounds of the game. You went down that skill tree. You invested in it. You chose to.
Okay.
But yet you're arguing that, like, universally, that should not have been a skill tree.
Don't come back from this, but here's what I'm going to say.
Don't come back. Don't argue me on this.
Because I'm just trying to explain to you how I feel about it. I don't feel like what you get out of the tree is wrong, bad. I feel like how they present that tree to you.
The delivery?
Yes.
Oh.
Hey, you can get more grenades. Hey, you can use more oils in one time.
That's not even my biggest gripe about the character development.
That was an awesome.
So let's table it. Put it in a nice little blue box.
Okay.
Yeah.
You put it on.
This is getting nowhere.
And you put it in the bodega where no one buys it. But Jared, you have another point.
What's your biggest complaint?
My biggest complaint.
Because I don't see us getting on another argument on the level of combat. So what's
you have to calm yourself.
The limitation. I feel like you spend. It's almost like you're purchasing your skills and then you have to equip them. Which I feel like if I'm gonna invest a point into a skill, I should just have access to it. I shouldn't have only access to 6 of my skills at a time.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
With like how you could buy as much as you want, but you only were able to on the right side. You can only.
And then you end up wasting a bunch of skill points if you didn't. Like you can't. Like
I guess my counter argument to that, not a heated way, but like an actual logical way, is that's just progression. Because if you look at other RPGs where everything's locked, all the good shit's locked till the end, you need to get through a bunch of useless stuff to get to the good stuff.
So it's just like a big trade-off after trade-off?
Exactly. It's every RPG
not
does
necessarily,
that,
though. Because, okay, I love games with skill trees, and I love sort of looking at them, and without looking at builds online, figuring out how to manipulate these the best. And there's a lot of times where you could be like, if I put 2 points in this passive here, then later on it'll buff this skill that I get like at level 30. I'm not going to put that passive that I got at level 4 onto my thing when I have to choose all my better things, right? I can't mix and match what's there in order to create my own version of my...
That's what I'm trying to say, though.
Okay.
In let's use Dragon Age Inquisition, because you love that game. Let's use that game's skill tree.
With no salt, though.
Yeah.
Let's use that game's skill
works.
tree. No, it's the exact same thing, because I remember when I was playing Dragon Age Inquisition, and even when I watch custom builds online, there are some skills that you have to unlock to get to one after it, and you're never going to use that skill.
Let me give you an example.
Because in Dragon Age Inquisition, you placed all your skill trees on your hotbar, did you not? But yet every skill that you purchased by the end of the game did not show up on the hotbar.
You don't need to do that for passive. So for example, I have an archer in Dragon Age Inquisition, and I got to the point where I've maxed out everything that's in that particular tree. So I started putting stuff in the stealth tree, and it has particular buffs that help me with dexterity and stuff like that. They will help me with my other tree.
So is your argument that The Witcher doesn't have any passives?
No, it has passives, but you have to equip them in order for them to work, and that means sacrificing a slot.
That sucks.
Okay, then that's a valid argument.
That sucks.
But that's not what you said in the first place.
All I'm saying is that you shouldn't have to equip the skills you've already earned. I bought this with a skill point.
No, your argument is make sure you include passives, because every skill is a skill you've earned.
No, but the whole point of a passive is
passive.
It just works.
But that's his point, and that's the point that I agree with, is you shouldn't have to equip the passive. The point of a passive is it's there regardless. And that you're right, Inquisition does do that. I originally thought that your point was going off of, why do you have to unlock all these useless ones to get to the good shit?
No, not that at all. I'm saying that...
I was saying that's in every RPG. But what you're saying and what you're right with, and I agree with you...
We have the hardest time understanding
No, what you're saying and what I agree with you on is the fact that not every RPG does this. There are many RPGs that do it the right way, where a passive is literally, by definition, a passive ability. Yeah. It's always there. And The Witcher, I agree, does not have that. You have to have it equipped.
But not just that.
Like the whole, art...
If I want to be an idiot and get, five melee skills and then 5 sign skills, and they all only have 1 skill point in them, I should be able to have access to all of those 10 skills. I shouldn't have to be like, okay, I'm going to put this here, and then I only get 3 of them now. And then when I get to level 15 or whatever, I can put another 1 on.
But that also falls into the meta of the game. But back to the whole passive
that's what
thing,
I dislike about it.
What I'm agreeing with is, let's use the Ard for Axii, for example. When you level up Axii, the first time you're leveling up Axii, its passive is that it works in dialogue conversations.
Yeah.
But it won't work in dialogue conversations unless you have it equipped in your thing. So for the game, for the entire game, I had Axii.
And then you have to swap them.
Exactly. So, but the thing is, you don't know when there's going to be a dialogue option. You can't pause it in the middle of dialogue.
You can be like, I think there might be a thing where I might have to use it. So you swap it, right?
Yeah.
if you're not gonna, I would do that too. If I'm not gonna be like heavily into combat, I would throw that on.
And I had that actually in there the entire time because you never know when you're going to.
I used to have that, but then it felt useless, and I was like,
I'm agreeing with you now that I understand what you're trying to get across. I'm agreeing with you. And that was your biggest gripe with the game.
And the way you level up, I felt was like
that sucks.
If you want to grind, you can't.
You can't do it.
They might as well give you no experience.
Oh yeah, no, they did give you no experience, and
they do, but it's like every.
But the thing is, what I hate, and now it's my turn to defend. What I hate about this game is the experience system. The fact that if you go 5 levels higher than the recommended level, you get 2 experience for a mission that you would have got 300 for if you were within the 5 levels, and that's regardless of if you're level 15 and the mission's a level 10 mission, or if you're level 50 and the mission's a level 45 mission, you get 2 to 4 experience.
They do that in other games too, though.
But it's so discouraging for like a completionist to go back and do those missions when if your experience pool is like 17,000 or The Witcher was only 2,000, but 2,000 to level up and you're getting 4 experience for doing a mission that takes a half hour.
Yeah, I mean, at that was point, my biggest issue. The experience isn't your issue; it's you're completing it.
Yeah. No, but say for example,
the game is just trying to keep you from like
I don't remember
overleveling.
But I don't remember what the level.
Challenge.
I don't remember, but it's so easy. I overlevel in that game easily on my
How
first playthrough. Okay, the game's so easy to overlevel in. But my point is like enjoying those missions and going through those times. There's the completionist aspect of it. But say if you don't do the missions in those allotted levels, and eventually you're going to go 5 levels ahead of a mission, even if you're trying to do them all within the level requirement. Eventually, because you're doing all of them within the level requirement, they're going to give you the proper experience, and you're going to go ahead of it. But my point is, let's say I forget what the actual level cap is. But let's say it's 50. By the end of the game,
40.
Was it? No, I think it was 50.
And he said, let's just say.
I think it was 55 on your first playthrough.
Just fucking go.
Yeah, no, this is how it's done anyway.
Anyways, so let's say the level cap is 55. By the end of the game, if you're level 53 or 52, and all the other like side missions and all the other missions that you could do are gray instead of like the yellow or red or blue or whatever, meaning that they're active, then you're getting 4 to 2 experience per each mission, and you're like 2 levels away from being the cap. And then what? You're gonna kill a monster to get 2 experience? Then that's when it comes in where it's like that's the level flaw in the game, and that's my gripe with it. So no, I agree. The leveling system is that was really dumb.
So the 2 major things I had a problem with is the RPG aspect of it, which is leveling up and character customization, and the story.
You didn't like the story?
I didn't think the story.
Hold on 1 second. I'm not sure I can go with this.
Over here, Chuka.
I'll say one thing I would never quite like. I think what's it called? What's his name?
DLC or main story?
No, main story. The Baron. What's his full name?
Oh, the Bloody Baron.
He
should have won Voice Actor of the Year that year.
The Bloody Baron questline is incredible. I can't hate it. I can't.
That was amazing.
It's fantastic. I can't hate on it. It's fantastic.
Story of The Witcher. The only thing that I find is better than The Witcher story, like within the same universe, is the Hearts of Stone expansion. The Hearts of Stone expansion had an amazing story. Blood and Wine wasn't as good as Hearts of Stone.
So, I don't have much to say on this. I think I can get
So get it out before...
my point across pretty easily. So let me just get it all out, and then you can rebuttal. I don't think the story itself is terrible. I think the way it's presented to you. Okay, so the main story is just muttered in all these, like you were talking about the Bloody Baron. That's like a side vignette type story.
No, it's a main story.
But it's a main story that has nothing to do with the main story.
Yes, it does.
It's just that Ciri happened to visit there, and he's trying to
It's the main story for Velen. Every main area has a main story.
So those are just small
Novigrad
stories.
is Skellige is the whole thing with I forget his name. The Crack on Crate.
So they're different. They're little individual stories.
They all serve the purpose of finding Ciri.
Well,
each one of them has information.
But I felt like throughout the whole game, I just felt okay. Let me just get this out, okay?
The whole game was a fetch quest. You can say that.
The whole game just felt like a game of cat and mouse. I was always at the place that too late, and then I got like 5 minutes of information about the main story about Ciri, and then I had to go through this whole side. It felt like a side quest hidden within the main story.
But that's the point. Right, okay.
And those stories individually on their own are not terrible. I just feel like that the main story should not have been presented to you in such a way. It's just another thing is that you got to play as Ciri a little bit, which I think that it was her. She wasn't fun because of how they developed her, but I think if
they made her OP for a reason.
If they had made her more something you could also invest in, I think seeing it from her perspective more often, almost like 50-50, would have been a lot more interesting.
See, but now I think you're asking
Isn't
for
she
too
going to
much.
appear in another game? Because like
Cyberpunk. She goes to I think when she talks to after you finally find Ciri and she has a conversation with you, she says that she elusively she went to a world where I forget what she says, but she describes Cyberpunk. So it's possible that she'll show up.
I think Ciri as a character is light years more interesting than Geralt.
Oh, of course, and that's the point of Witcher 3.
Can we go back to that for a second? But are you saying she goes?
She can travel through dimensions. Yeah, that's Ciri's power.
If they had made the game about,
because I think you're asking for too much to be able to develop Ciri. She was OP. She was OP for a reason. It's because she is this godlike creature that everyone's searching for. That's why the Wild Hunt want her. Yeah. And when you play as her, they allow you to see why she. When you play as her, they allow you to see why they.
It wouldn't make sense for you to develop her because if she was at level 1, it would be stupid because she's supposed to be strong.
The whole point of the game is supposed to be a fetch quest, a game of cat and mouse, because you haven't seen Ciri in how many years? 18.
The thing is, though, just because these things are
Geralt hasn't seen Ciri since she was a kid.
Just because these things were done the way they were supposed to doesn't mean I like them. Like. You know, you're saying, well, your rebuttal is always, that's how it's supposed to be. Well, that's why I didn't like it, because that's what they did.
This is unpopular opinion.
Yeah. Oh, shit.
I'm blown. There you go.
You know, but again, like, the thing is, you can't force him to like those things. You can't make him like the tree.
No, I can't, but I'm explaining why they're like that.
The thing is, you know why they're good, and they were developed, and they
not necessarily why they're good. I know why they're like that.
I mean, yeah, they're why they're like that, and then a lot of this game, you know, hit well for you, and you liked it. But, you know, just the way they're... You can't like every RPG. Like,
no, you can't.
Like look at every Orange, because fuck Blood Orange.
Look at Andromeda.
Blood Oranges, except for the artists, Blood Oranges are terrible.
See, that's what I'm saying. So, like, again, RPGs are like oranges.
Sometimes you get a tangerine, the other times you eat a lime, but you're, like, drunk, so you don't really know.
I'm okay with navels.
Oh, no.
Okay.
But, you know, let's end it, and let's get our final unpopular opinion. Let's just quick summarize. Jesse, how do you feel about The Witcher 3?
I respect that game very deeply. CD Projekt Red kind of put like a new like standard in terms of what's that called?
Post-release content.
Post-release content and support.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people and companies can afford, you know, to learn a thing or two from them.
Activision.
And I admittedly have not finished The Witcher, and I've bought so much of that game that I don't know why I can't get into it. But I just deeply respect it. I do like it. It's just I very much have to be in the mood to play, and it's you know I find it hard because my mind's all over the place. Daniel,
come to me last.
Okay, so he has no opinion, Chuka.
Yeah, I'm not coming to you last.
Okay, let me say it. It's in my top 5 games of all time.
Oh, all right.
And I will support. And this isn't me being a fanboy. It's me respecting that the work that they do. I will support CD Projekt because it's Projekt.
Oh yeah! Oh, you know Polish. Think I don't know Polish?
I
don't know Polish?
This is the guy who orders, goes to like a Greek place and orders a euro.
Yeah.
Hey, I will order. Thank you for screwing me over with that. I will support CD Projekt Red. And I bought the like.
Okay, shh.
I own the game. I own the game and the Season's Pass on PS4, Xbox One, and PC.
That sounds like a lot of money.
Own the collector's guide. I spent I'm giving a lot of money. I own the.
You want another set of cards?
I own the Gwent decks. Thank you. I bought the collector's edition of the game when it came out, and I own the encyclopedia of The Witcher 3. The only thing I don't own are the books, and that's because I'm very specific with my books, and I don't like mass market paperback, like the really small rectangular ones, and that's the only way to find the first 2, and I refuse to buy those unless I find the proper ones. But that's just me being OCD like with my books.
When's your appointment?
What appointment?
To get your wolf tattoo.
Oh yeah.
Is that happening?
No.
I'm just saying it because he fucking loves this game so much.
But that's just me being appreciative of the work that they put out. They're a team that is smaller than Rockstar, and they put out a game that functions almost. It could arguably be more or on the same level as GTA 5. So
I mean, that's what you get when you have a team of just passionate people.
exactly, and they're a team a lot smaller. They're a team smaller than BioWare Montreal.
Pointing at my TV is nothing fun.
I know. But you
For
were going
those
to
at
show us.
home, Daddy was literally pointing at an empty Sony monitor.
You were going to show us Mass Effect, but
He was not.
no, you said it was in the chat. But yeah, the team's so small and dedicated that you can't help but not want to see them succeed. And I can't wait for Cyberpunk. That's my point.
I think The Witcher is inarguably one of the best games of the generation that I just don't want to play. Also, apparently Siri is like a techno wizard, so I want to play Cyberpunk.
Hopefully she comes. It's just speculation.
Is that your ending statement?
That's it.
I feel like she's just going to appear like, and then,
Yeah, really.
Probably
What
is.
the fuck is it?
So, okay, I want to say that I have tremendous respect for The Witcher 3.
Didn't sound like it.
I probably put more hours in than these two combined.
Okay, I
probably-
thought you were gonna say me. I thought you were gonna
not
say
you,
me.
for sure.
That's almost certainly
yeah, right?
Someone has a penis. Someone who's like played what?
like 30 hours.
It's over 100.
Yeah.
I've put into
Yeah,
this.
of
I
course.
put like 8 to 10 hours in that game.
Probably 30 hours.
What?
I'm like,
Why are you on that side of the table?
Because we need
He
someone to
doesn't
talk
hate
about it.
He doesn't hate
could've
it, and I have
defended it on my
problems.
own.
Okay,
Thank you very
I
much.
think, and
We could have
I
just
can
picked
see,
on you.
It'd be boring if I didn't defend
There
it.
was 3 guys circle jerking.
Did you
on
really
one guy.
even? You barely said anything.
Yeah,
It's
because you
me.
two like seem to go at it.
Okay, listen. Okay, I have a
Just fall
tremendous,
asleep here.
I have tremendous respect for what they did, and they did a lot of things right. I just think that where I'm coming from is that people are saying it's a stellar game when it's just a good game, and that's what I'm trying to get
You know what a
across.
good game is? It's Mass Effect Andromeda's GameSpot review gave it a 6 and said it was a good game.
I don't want to play a fucking
No,
6.
fucking around.
I was gonna-
No, that's actually what they said. It's a good game.
I was actually gonna look at the Metacritic for Mass Effect while we were talking.
I don't want to
about
look
it.
at that.
But like a
Time
lot
Ladder
of, there was a
Suicide
lot
Squad.
of
Yeah.
7s and higher. Like
Academy Award
GameSpot
winner.
was one of the only few places that gave it like around a 6. A lot of it was 7s and up. So maybe we were.
But
like,
the
too hard on
review
it.
was like,
The GameSpot's review wasn't. They weren't bashing it. They were sad.
We should talk about this after we end this because I think we've talked about.
it's the after show.
I just
and,
want.
and you stumbled into
I just
the
wanted to
regular
end.
show.
I just wanted to end the show by saying,
So you'll get the final word of the show because it
I
was
wa-
your unpopular opinion.
I wanted to. My statement, what I just said about the stellar game, okay game or good game. I think it's a good game, not a stellar game.
Okay.
But I just want to going off of Witcher. I just want to say the saloon doors. The reason they had saloon doors in the Old West
All right, go. Let's hear it.
was because it allowed easy access in and out of the bar
Yes.
while still retaining the city code of having a barrier at an establishment.
You motherfucker! You're back on the saloon door. So
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
That was the. They might not even know what
He
the
just
context of
introduced.
this.
He just introduced the saloon door.
Anyway,
God
no.
damn it.
I believe I said something around the same realm as that they still needed a door, right?
Yes,
But
Yes.
not for city.
not for city code.
God
Not for
damn
city
it.
code. Oh, fuck it,
Goddamn
whatever.
saloon doors.
They need to have some sort of barrier between the city and a place where they're serving alcohol.
For context, we're not even talking about The Witcher anymore. This is
straight up-
deep rooted shit that's
All
going
right.
on here.
All right, before it gets any further than that, this is the Red Ven, and we're closing up.
Yep.
Peace.
Bye, everyone.